our holiday live stream. I'm Sandy Gardner.
I'm Ben Lesnick. What a day for a live stream. This is our third annual holiday live stream.
It is.
We like to end the year celebrating everything we've accomplished as Star Citizen, sharing some content with our backers, and just showing you some pretty cool stuff. And there's a lot to come in the next 3 hours. It's gonna be good.
There is a lot to come. We have lots of videos and some gameplay and all sorts of things, and there's noisy people in the background who should be quiet.
And maybe one mind-blowing surprise towards the end. But for now, welcome. $100 million, that's just incredible, isn't it?
I know, I was reading some of the press articles, and there's a lot of them. There's about 120 or more.
It's very hard to explain to people what this is.
It is very hard to explain to people, and we have a $100 million person who got us over the line, and we've contacted him, but he hasn't responded to us. So if he does, we will let you know who he is. But he has won a lifetime Imperator subscription, a Jump Point Volume 2, which we will be announcing later on, and a scythe.
A scythe, yes. We give one away at $50 million. It made sense to give one at $100 million. We also have a $100 million hanger flare reward we're putting together for everyone else. It's going to be essentially a UEE war bond that displays on your wall. This is a very, very early prototype. There's going to be a different one depending on which year you backed. So it'll be, the 2942 campaign for 2012, the 2943 campaign for 2013, and so on in that fashion.
And there's a picture of our Imperator on there, which we're going to improve, I think.
Yes, I don't know if any of you guys remember, but way back in 2012, before we had a company or any money or anything, we did a timeline of the Star Citizen universe, and Dave Haddock would get anybody he could to, pose as a background person. So the actual canonical person who has since become Imperator of the UEE is our founder and legal counsel, Orwin Freyermuth, and they have put him
on the war bond.
War bond. This one's a little bit on the nose, but we have a
profile version of him.
A better Orwin is coming. So you're all going to get Orwin bucks.
Yay! And we also have a chairman letter, which will be going out when?
As soon as he's done with it.
Okay.
We've been a little busy. You're going to see what we've been busy with shortly, but we will get that letter out, and I'm sure Chris will have some more meaningful words than I can muster.
Yeah.
It's just it feels impossible that we are here.
And in case we couldn't get more awkward, what have we got now?
I don't know.
The pipeline video.
Pipeline video. Yes, we. So this past couple months, our production folks have been shoring up what we call the ship pipeline, essentially. Early on, when we created a ship, it would be kind of, we were discovering new things, learning how a spaceship is going to work in Star Citizen, and it required a lot of very, very careful individual effort to get any one ship out. Now that we are 3 years into this thing, we finally have a ship pipeline where it's like manufacturing a car, putting together a new starship. And we put together a 2-part video that we want to share with you how that works. And without further ado, let's kick off the
first video.
Very first video. Check it out. Spaceship is any word more exciting in the English language. Certainly the very basis, the heart of Star Citizen is the fantasy that you can own and operate and explore and battle in spaceships. So it's incredibly important that we come up with a process for creating these spaceships to a high degree of fidelity, both how they work in the universe and how they work in our very complex game. And today we're going to look at how that happens. Probably the very first thing we do in the process of creating a ship is come up with the role. That's the absolute most important thing.
It's about taking Chris's vision along with the information supplied by Ben Lesnick for, if it's a new ship, what its functions are, and then from there, working with the concept artists and fully realizing a ship. So basically it works for design, it works for the game, looks cool, fits in with the manufacturer.
The next step is that we essentially put together a design document. How does this ship work? Here's how it should work. Here's how many thrusters it has. It has, this checklist of things. It needs 5 escape pods. It needs bunks for 6 people. And the concept artist takes, our ramblings and turns it into a beautiful concept model.
Who's one of our concept artists. Basically, we're looking at the Javelin, which is undergoing second pass concept, let's say. He sort of fully understands what's involved for this manufacturer. And just taking all that design language that we've established already and putting it onto the Javelin so basically it's consistent, it's good for the UEE. When you see it, you're like, okay, that's an Aegis UEE ship. All the cues are consistent. Again, you can see the sort of level of detail that Dan's putting into the work, the panel lines, all the decals. Again, you'll see here from this thruster, there's a similarity. And this task will take a couple of weeks, and then of course running it past Chris, just make sure he's got final sign off.
So once Paul's done with the concept and pretty much discovery phase, we call it sometimes, with his team, it then goes into a phase that we call white box. The white box is essentially the very raw bare bones of the ship. It's not pretty, but it's functional. And the key with the stage of the white box when it comes to larger ships such as the Idris or the Javelin is to understand, can we make it work? So the design team will flesh out a white box interior, for example, and on a given day I may go in and go, well, is this going to technically work? If we stand the player in this corner of the ship and he's drawing the whole ship, then that's not going to work. We've got the Idris hangar, okay, the Idris has got a lot of detail inside. Obviously we can't draw that all the time, so we have to set the interior and design the interior around being as efficient as possible. As you bring the camera around, you'll see that it will actually start streaming in all of that geometry and all of that fog. If I take it back, it completely does it in reverse. The advantage of that is that we can throw more detail inside and not worry about the cost of it from outside. And just generally a massive improvement with frame rate, massive improvement on memory costs. So that's the purpose of the white box, is to identify problems before they turn up in the pipeline.
The next step is that the high resolution, super detailed model that our concept artists come up with is given to our technical designers here at the company.
Grey box is essentially taking the white box to final geometry. Everything should be identifiable in its current form, just with polygons. This is Starfarer, actually. It's not been seen by the public yet, but this is a really good example of a grey box. This is the cargo bay of that ship. You'll notice there's no textures, there's no shaders, it's just kind of just grey checker box. So this is pretty much kind of final geometry now and is ready to go into production. It's taking shape quite nicely. So we'll then kind of break this down into various kind of modular elements that we can kind of pull away, assign those to the team to kind of crack on with. The interior of the ship for me is a map. It's a multiplayer map. It's certainly bigger than a multiplayer the map. And it has to be fun to walk around and you have to be able to navigate it easy. And these are all the things that we try to apply very, very early on. So it goes from grey box here and then it'll go into final art production here. And that's a good example to look at right now. She's pretty much done. From there, that's handed on to tech design.
In tech design, we pretty much take all the other areas on the project and glue them together to make pretty spaceships actually fly and behave as you'd expect. We take the mesh and we split it up how it's going to fall apart in game. So the nose will come off, body splits here, wings come off. So we create the actual hierarchy, which is one of the key things animation need. So they can get their animations in, and as long as that hierarchy stays the same, those animations will be fine. Everything else can change around it.
When the modelers and artists get to a gray box phase of this ship, they hand it off to me and I break out certain geometries, set up hierarchies, name the different objects, and then animate them within Max. And in this case, we have the Aegis Vanguard here, and the wings are able to deploy and retract. It's my job to animate all these on the proper axis so nothing clips in, it all works correct mechanically. So we animate it opening, animate it closing, add some tension in there. And then we have back here, we've got this cargo bay that opens up and lets you into the interior of the ship. In addition to that, I'll break out different components, like we'll take out the seat to where we animate the character entering and exiting the ship. Any ship interaction he has, typically we'll animate all those in motion builders and export that for the character.
The next step in the ship process, the one that everybody else sees, is that it becomes hangar ready. It'll pop up in your Star Citizen hangar, you know, if you have bought that particular ship, and you get to explore it and see what's inside.
It takes a lot of work to get the ships in-game to the standard we want and the standard the fans want for them.
We have backers come round. Every time they sit with the ship team, they're completely blown away by the amount of work that isn't seen in the final product. Once Jay's animated all the sections of the ship that need animation, landing gears, doors, anything like that, it's ready then to go to fine-tuning.
That was the first half of the ship pipeline, and in honor of that, we have some shipbuilders right here. Introduce yourselves.
So I'm Matt Sherman, technical designer.
And I'm Owen Basher, lead vehicle artist in LA.
And we're going to show you some of the ships we are working on currently, walk you through progress and some stuff that's not in your hangar or your, whatever's after a hangar, in your flight. Doesn't make sense. We're going to start with something the UK has been putting a whole lot of work into. It's the Starfarer tanker. The Starfarer kind of represents the next step in our ship process. We've built single seat fighters, we've built snub fighters, we've built the first multi-crew ships, and now we're doing the bigger ships. That's,
and it's actually it's going to be our biggest our first like large non-combat purpose ship, because it was always, it's a utility tanker. It's there for salvaging, or not salvaging, but harvesting, refining, processing fuel, filling up tanks, refilling other ships. But this thing is just massive.
Another very important thing about the Starfarer is that it's sort of the class leader for MISC. It's the ship that's going to define the look and feel for all the other ships in the MISC lineup, the Reliant, the Freelancer, and so on, and you'll be seeing that. So let's start with some stills.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just reiterate, this is the UK team, which has a bunch of artists all working really hard on putting this together. It's being led by Neil McKnight. I'm sorry, not Neil McKnight, Matt Johns. And so we'll just go through a little bit of the ship here. You've got the bedroom where all your crew is gonna relax, and I'm assuming we'll have some NPCs running around in the ship as well.
Yeah, like crew barracks, that kind of stuff. Then captain's little private bedroom.
Yeah, I think when we first set out to do this, we kind of imagined it as like a very lonely, like two-person tanker, and it's just gotten so much bigger, and there's so much stuff to do in it.
You'll see how big it is.
Yeah. Oh, in a few minutes.
Yeah, for sure. So this is more of the captain's quarters as well.
Yep.
Also, it's good to mention that these are all captured in engine. This is all done in CryEngine.
So this is the main cargo bay of the ship. So once you're actually out and about, doing Starfarer things, this room's going to probably be a lot more packed with just materials, cargo,
Absolutely.
What have you.
You'll see on the floor that you've got some outlines for squares. That sort of outlines kind of where your cargo would be placed. So you'd imagine all of this white space. You can basically stack tons of cargo in there.
Yeah.
And this is sitting right in the belly of the Starfarer. It doesn't even count the
these aren't the tanker
fuel
pods
containers.
at all. So more. This is leading up to the main bridge of the ship. You also see the escape pods on the side. So if things start going bad, you'll have a way to get out. Nice exterior shot.
Beautiful exterior.
Let's see, good front shot. Those giant. They are going to end up as twin-size fours on the side. So. It's not going to have as many guns as something like a Constellation, but the guns it does have are going to be a pretty strong punch for anything that's in front of the Starfarer. So it's going to be fun.
This is, I believe, the engine room.
Yeah, engine room. I believe that's suiting area for the getting ready for the catwalk section.
Right.
So, gravity generator.
What is the catwalk section?
So the catwalk section is one of the big selling points of the Starfarer was you're the tanker truck that if someone's out of gas and they need a refill, they're going to be Starfarers are the ones called in for that, and so there's a catwalk going down the back spine of the ship that actually has the refueling assembly for it. So that'll deploy out, port into the ship, fill its quantum fuel back up, get it good to go. And so now Elwin is actually taking us live into the ship itself. So this is all in the editor, all real time. This is the actual cockpit of the Starfarer. As you can see, just everything has this just uniform style to it that the UK guys have just been nailing down to really define this is what makes MISC ships MISC ships.
Do you know what those different stations in the bridge are?
Right now, not everything is fully built out, but I mean, this is going to be similar to something like the Constellation. So you have your pilot, co-pilot, at least a basic engineer, shield management station. So any of the core ship services you'll be able to keep a direct eye on from this station, but you still may need to have one guy get up and out back to the catwalk, something like that, to do the actual refill to another ship. And so then, heading back out through the cockpit brings us back to that hallway room with the escape pods that we were just talking about. So a few little kit lockers on each side, so basic supplies for each of the crew. So if you have to pop that open, you can probably find some light weapons, stuff like that, so that if you have to repel some boarders.
And also, this is, like I said, I'm actually flying around live in CryEngine to show this off. So the ship is actively coming together as we speak, basically. So you'll see some areas that are still under construction and some little pops and things like that, which are going to happen.
Yep.
And this is a perfect example here. We've got a room which is still under construction, obviously, so we'll go ahead and add that in. But it'll give you a basic idea of what it would be like to sort of travel through the Starfarer.
Yeah, that's sort of the main connecting hallway Ellen was just in for bringing you into the cargo room. So now we had the other picture earlier, but now you can get another really good view of just how big this cargo room is.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive.
Yeah. I think like the old the old AeroView hangar, I think, was almost like that size, because that wasn't the biggest of the original 3 hangars, but still, this is going to be a very substantial ship. And I also can't wait to see some firefights breaking out in this room.
Just what you want to firefight on that fuel ship.
Absolutely. Hey, gunfights worked for Waterworld, right? Okay, so this is now outside the ship. This is a little bit of some of the work in progress stuff Ellen was also mentioning. We're still getting all the rooms really built, hooked up, all fully lined up to the ship. But you can definitely see how it's all coming together. So we've got the fuel pods, the guns, the whole just shell of the ship. This catwalk area is definitely going to be a bit more rough, as the giant red temp textures will designate.
And there's some alignment things that have to be fixed too, but it's really getting there, and it's looking awesome.
Show me what the escape pods look like from the outside.
Yeah. So
let's go straight to that.
Up. So we've got these 6 little hatches, 3 on each side, and they'll just shoot straight up and out, and hopefully before the fuel tanks rupture.
There you go. You're shooting
Very
straight
cool.
up. Yep.
Reminds me of the vertical launch system on a destroyer or a frigate or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, especially for that, just for how armored and protected the giant shoulder blocks on the Starfarer are, it's definitely something that you wouldn't want to shoot out. You want to shoot up and get away as fast as you can.
Yeah. So this is switching over to the Freelancer now.
Yep.
Which we do have a bunch of screenshots as well to show off how awesome this thing is starting to look.
Yep. Also being developed by the folks in the UK right now. We're splitting up the company by company. So everything MISC is in Foundry 42 UK.
Except for the Reliant.
Yeah,
that
for the
one. That one's
Reliance,
being done
yeah.
here, but it's part of the same family. So
Yeah.
this ship on the art side is being led by Neil McKnight, and it's really coming together. I mean, it's looking pretty
Yeah.
awesome. And you can talk about some of the changes that were made for gameplay reasons.
Oh yeah, so I mean, one of the biggest things all of our ships have been getting ready for, and it's still a big undertaking for us, is this general component refactor that we've talked about a few times all the way back through April. Because the Freelancer is one of the first 3 or 4 ships even available for Star Citizen.
That's right.
And so it was still built on a lot of those older legacy systems, and now we've got the whole plan set. So it's now built in right now and interactive, but it'll be using the new component system, the updated power plants, shields, all of that, the refactored weapon sizing. So those guns, I want to say they're a bit bigger than the original size 5s that we were originally built. I want to say it's either twin size 3s or twin size 4s on the sides of the Freelancer now, and then twin size 2s on the back turret. So the baseline ship is going to have a good amount of punch to it. And so yeah, all the nice exterior shots, just like the Freelancer, nice detailed interior, cockpit again, and also referencing back to what we were just showing you guys with the Starfarer, the cockpits look very distinctly the same. You can tell these are MISC ships just by that look, that feel, the streamlining paneling on the consoles.
Right. There's a lot of work that was put into just making sure that when you're in a ship, you know exactly what manufacturer built it, so that way you can. So we're doing a lot of tricks by using the same materials, same paint jobs, the same type of fonts, colors, and things like that, even down to the same exact shapes for some of the seats here you'll see are basically the same ones as the Starfarer, so that way you know you're in a MISC ship essentially.
Yep.
And here's
Action
the
shots
brand
of
new cargo room,
Yep. So now let's jump back to the in-game.
I'll tell you guys, we're going to have the high-res copies of all the stills in the gallery online shortly after this is done.
Yep. And so let's dive into the cockpit here. So now we're inside the Starfarer.
Freelancer.
Or Freelancer. So many ships today.
Yeah, so here we are with the Freelancer. The lighting, again, just like the Starfarer, it's still coming together. So there are going to be parts that are still under construction. Part of that would be the lighting in here.
You might say it's sort of hit or miss. I'm so sorry.
And so here's the crew section that was shown a little bit ago.
Yeah. So one of the things that changed here, the original Freelancer had the crew section built into the cockpit. It was sort of just the back end of the cockpit. And so for performance reasons and just for gameplay reasons, we decided to move that entire thing further back, put a bulkhead in between, and we can easily accommodate now 4 bunk beds, which are also the escape pods.
Yeah, I mean, also was it the Constellation had something similar where instead of having a single, just gigantic room, compartmentalizing this stuff, just to make sure that everything is going to work how we want it to, and the kind of experience we want to deliver for the ship.
Right.
I always like the bed escape pods. That seems like a terrifying proposition.
Yeah.
Go to sleep, wake up floating.
Well,
in
at least
space.
you know, though, that if once you go to bed, if something happens, you
Try
can
going
immediately
real
get
time
out.
with this so we can see some of the lights. So this may have a few oddities right now. We're going to see how...
We're going to try and jump in and see
Here
what
we go.
happens. Oh, there we go.
Awesome.
That worked.
So, and then F3 twice. Cool. So, now you're going to see some real comedy. But so this is the actual real-time lighting of the ship running in the engine. You can still see, we need
It's
to be
bouncing.
flipping around.
Yeah, sorry.
But so there's still a few things that we're getting cleaned up for it, but you can really see it's like, okay, this ship is definitely alive. These panels, the lights all have a purpose.
I know.
Random fires jutting out of nowhere, keep you on your toes.
Your freelancers are rocking.
Yeah, especially if it's own volition with no one piloting it. So
Yeah, absolutely.
but yeah, And so that is our current status on the Freelancer. And then lastly today is going to be...
We've got the Reliant.
Yep.
Ooh.
So this is the Reliant in its gray box stage.
Yep.
Basically what that means is that we're almost 100% done with the geometry, and we'll be moving on to doing all the surface work. So we've got to apply materials and do decals and cut lines and all that good stuff that the Freelancer and Starfarer currently have, and apply all that good stuff to the Reliant. So on the exterior, we're going to be moving into that phase pretty soon. But because we had already established a style for MISC, especially on the interior some time ago, we were able to capitalize on that and go ahead and build out the interior almost to final already.
Yeah.
So that's already looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Getting there. So this is the cargo hauler version of the Reliant, where you can carry 2 pretty big containers. I think that's about twice as much as the Aurora, or?
I think so.
Yeah, it's about twice the Aurora, twice the base Aurora, and like 1.5 times an Aurora CL, because that's the cargo Aurora.
By the way, one thing people ask us all the time is, oh, you spent a year working on the Constellation. Do you need a year for every single ship? And this is an example of why we spend so much time on that kind of flagship, and then it's just very easy to have the interior come together. And I don't want to say easy because this is an incredibly difficult job, but a lot. It doesn't take months and months.
It's
relatively
easy.
More efficient.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because now we know what RSI makes of a ship, look like, feel like for the interior, so we can do a lot of the same stuff where it's pulling those visual cues, pulling things like the seats, the stations, a lot of the badging, and making sure that every single RSI ship that comes down the line has that same, feel and familiarity to it.
Is this my basic Reliant? No.
Yeah, this is our basic
Base
Reliant.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah.
What, do we have any more Reliants?
Well, we've actually got one other version of this Reliant to show you guys. Now, this is still a version of the base hauler, but this is actually our current work-in-progress version of the impending hangar-ready version of the ship. So we don't have a firm timeline on when that'll be out, but we wanted to show you guys the progress that's being made. So, rear hatch opening on up, climb on into the front of the ship. And now this is going to be funny.
Should I jump in?
Oh yeah, jump in, and then go third person to show them the craziness of it. So the fun thing with working on any in-development product is bugs. So we're still getting all the animations hooked up for the pilot seat and the co-pilot seat, but we're definitely making progress on this ship, getting it closer and closer to getting in your guys' hands. So we're really looking forward to that.
Yeah,
And
that's basically the Reliant right there.
Yeah, so that is the current suite of the MISC family of ships. So it's everything except for the Hull series and the Endeavor, which are fairly new.
Which are much bigger than the Starfarer as well. So
yeah, I mean, if the Starfarer already looks big, those will be gargantuan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we just wanted to also thank the different designers and artists who've worked on each of these ships. So starting with the Starfarer, Quentin Belmont out at Foundry 42 from the design side. And then,
I mean, on the art side we basically have an army of artists out there.
Yeah.
So we've got Matt Johns, who's leading the Starfarer art. We've got Richard Money, Michael Kalowski. We've got Jay Mohatra, Robin Carlson, Phil Howlett, Colin Baynard.
Yep.
It's just an army of guys working on the Starfarer. It's such a big asset.
Yep. And then on the Freelancer on design side, it was Steve Turberfield as well out in Foundry 42, along with John Crew, one of our lead tech designers at Foundry, getting this all set up for it.
Mm-hmm. And on the art side, it was led by Neil McKnight, working with Jan Haraki, Ian Stewart, Pete Wilkes, and Roger Lee.
Yep.
I'll say that for our part, we're going to spend some more time this next year letting you get to know those people. You guys kind of know everybody in Santa Monica at this point, and we'll be introducing you to some of the great UK guys who have been
We are.
It's hard to get them on camera, so if anybody from Foundry 42 is watching,
We're coming for
yeah,
you.
we're coming after you.
Yep.
Also, those guys,
yeah.
just quickly to mention, like I said before, the Reliant, a lot of the reason why it was able to come together so quickly is because of the work that all these guys have done on the Starfarer, on the Freelancer. So we were literally building on the work that they've already done in order to get it out. So thanks for the help, team.
Shoulders of giants.
Also to thank two of the other LA artists who've done a massive amount of work helping out with the Reliant, both Daniel Kamensky and
Gage Holman.
Yeah, like they've both been doing a tremendous amount of work helping to get it to the point where we can show it to you where it's at today, where we hope you guys are really loving what you're seeing. So
Daniel Kamensky, I carpool with that guy.
Yay.
Likes metal.
Next great starship.
We've got some more spaceships to show you
We
also.
do.
This is everything we have in the engine right now, but we've got some new stills that I think we can share. The Saber. Saber in there.
Yep.
The Saber is, well, we'll talk about its status in just a moment, but check out this imagery. It's coming along very, very well.
Nice.
Yep.
That looks awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the I still love the work Gavin does. So the original concept on the Saber was done by
Gavin Rothery?
Yeah, Gavin Rothery. He also did a bunch of the work helping us with the independent component system. So any of those teaser images of like a shield or a cooler you've seen, that's all been Gavin as well.
Right.
And with this, like he's really just knocking stuff out.
And this asset, the game version of it is being built by Nathan Dearsley, which is our vehicle art director in the UK, and he's basically the guy who set up exactly how this pipeline is going to work for all the ships, and is essentially the reason why they look so awesome.
Yeah.
I believe we've got some new Connie pictures.
Well, let's.
Oh, we should have converted these
JPEGs?
JPEGs, yeah.
Do you have another ship you would rather go to first?
Well, let's take a look at the Vanguard.
There we go.
Nice.
Yep. Some nice
Yeah, it's looking awesome.
in-flight action shots.
We're all just in awe at the ships right now. And again, we will have these in the gallery online after the show. So let's talk about what these ships mean to you guys. With Star Citizen 2.1 currently in its on its way very soon. We will have the Saber will be hangar ready, and the Freelancer will be flight ready. So work you're seeing right now is going right into 2.1, and you'll be interacting with a couple more of these ships yourselves. We also have to share with you our next concept ship, which is the Reliant variants. We've produced 3 additional variants for the Reliant. They're going to go up on the site. What time is it right now? In about 20 minutes. They'll be available in a post on the site, but we thought we'd share the artwork that Dave Hobbins, our fantastic outsourced concept guy, has done for this ship.
Yep. So actually, if you want to jump back one, we'll just go through these real quick. So right now you're seeing some of the special equipment for what will be our news van variant. So streamers, content creators, and gaming communities are a massive part of what helps a game have just long legs to it. So we want to make sure there's something also for you guys, so a way that an in-fiction way of like, okay, you're recording this battle, you're spreading the word about what's happening in a system at any given time, and some of the hardware that your ship will have installed to do that. So flip through a few more. Here's that news van covering a race at I don't even know what that is. Is that Old Vanderbilt?
It's the new one.
Some variation thereof.
Yep. But yeah, so covering a race, and then a nice outer shot when it's in its landing configuration. Out in flight mode, all still the news van. So here you'll see you've got your 2 bunks for the news crew, a little bathroom, a little broadcast terminal station in the back, so you can do any searching to tag out, okay, who's this pilot, find out which ship that was that you just filmed, who just may have won the race. And so now we're over into, I think this was an alternate version of the interior for the news van. So we're still building these things out. The nice thing with the work Dave does is he can just give us a ton of options so we can really find what fits best with the gameplay. So yeah, more exterior shots of the news van. So this is some concept on the researcher variant. So light exploration, science vessel. You can see a bunch of the avionics racks stored in the back. That's where you're going to get that computing power to really run through the findings that you discover out in the universe. Similar kind of station setup like the news van as well, though.
So we've got three. The original variant we called the hauler. It's sort of the freighter. We've got the news van, which is the sort of streamer-oriented Reliant. We have the skirmisher, which is our military version.
Yep.
Sort of it's sort of a. I think we went into it picturing like the F4U Corsair, this short takeoff, rugged island fighting ship, space island fighting ship. And then the last version is the researcher, which is the science.
Yep, here's a nice exterior shot of the researcher. And you can see also on the wingtip, so where the news van had the camera and the imaging set up, this has some better sensor systems and scanners on it, so you'll be able to actually find stuff out in the universe. So it's flight orientation, so more of the interior, the special gear on it. Let's see.
Yeah, so this is going through sort of each one of the variants, just showing off what each section of the ship looks like, basically.
So now we're into the skirmisher, showing some of the little internals. It'll have some extra rockets available, a few extra gun mounts than the basic Reliant models, and then...
I love the casings on the missile. I love that detail.
Yeah. Well, that way it's like we can keep the missile potent for the size and the scope of the ship without having to completely redo a design on every single missile. So this will be a lot of fun to get built out. More interior shots as well. The skirmisher will have a small little weapons locker available on the inside, so if you need to land somewhere and start shooting someone, you'll have some sidearms available as well for that. And then I think that loops us back around to the start of the images. So that's a quick look into the Reliant variants. Like Ben said, they should be available for you guys to pick up on the website shortly. So
we're going to have Reliant variants. We're going to bring back the Saber and the Freelancer Miss in honor of the fact that they're going into the game shortly. So those should all be available at the RSI site, if not right now, in a few moments. And as you have already heard in the forums, we're going to make some of our bigger ships available too. We've got a limited number of Idrises and Javelins that we're going to offer up at the site starting at noon, and then there's going to be 12 hours later there'll be a second allotment of Idrises, so that multiple times those get a shot, and it's every 6 hours for
the Javelin.
For the Javelin, yes, for the next day. So there'll be 4 allotments of Javelins over the next 24 hours. There's absolutely no need to pledge for one of these ships. Star Citizen is going to be fun with the $35 Aurora. But if you're interested in helping support the project, that's a way to do it.
We also have some progress on the Javelin.
Yes, we would not offer the Javelin again without sharing some progress. And to that end, we have a video that the guys in the UK who are working on it have put together. Let's check it out. Check it out. Welcome back, everybody. We are somewhere else now, and I'm joined, of course, by the chairman himself, Mr. Chris Roberts.
Hey guys, welcome to our holiday live stream. Great to have you here, great to be here, and you're starting to see the beginning of well, what we moved into a new office for, so we have a bit of room to actually shoot the community videos and do some mocap when we need to do it. So I'm pretty sure Ben and Jared and Tom and Justin are all quite happy that they've actually got more than 2 square feet to work in.
Yeah, we've been building out 3 different sets for our current and future shows. This one that you're seeing here is the most complete at the moment. It's called the Fan Cave. We're, kind of want that 1970s basement feel.
It's a big basement, but
big basement.
But we have a bunch of cool. I guess we're gonna display a bunch of the really cool fan art. So we got all the Osmonauts ones over here, and I can't on the other side. This is oops, sorry. The where is that? That's the Imperium one, which is really cool with all the ships.
Yeah, we've got the Hunter comics someone did. Hats people have sent us.
The model that was built was the awesome Retaliator model.
So yeah, it's all coming together, and as folks send us stuff, we'll expand and change, and we thought it would be, sort of a salute to the community.
Yep, Star Pirates over there. Yeah, exactly. Good, very cool.
So you guys don't want to hear about sets, you want to hear from Chris Roberts. 100 million, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's, I mean, it's letting us build the game that, well, I want to build, and I think everyone here at Clyde Imperium wants to build, and also you guys want to build, but no, it's, thank you so much. I mean, it always, if I look back on it where we started and what I thought we could do and what we've done now, and I mean, obviously the additional funds are just allowing us to make it much bigger and sort of double down sooner. So later on, you may see a result of that. But it's no. Thank you guys so much. I mean, I'm always humbled and in awe of it, and kind of have to pinch myself more than once.
But honestly, that's not our most important milestone these past few weeks. The release of 2.0 has, certainly, I think it's crystallized Star Citizen in a lot of people's minds. How has that been for you?
Yeah, no, that's, I mean, actually, I mean, we knew that it was, because, we were obviously playing it and sort of seeing the potentials, but it's the first time that a lot of the different game elements all sort of come together in sort of one. So, it's got a lot of, we've got bugs, we've got issues, some machines have performance issues, and so there's a lot of things to work out, but it's the first time you sort of get the idea of how it works, where you seamlessly sort of can go from running around on foot, getting in a ship, flying somewhere, getting out on another location, or EVAing out, or going and rescuing someone. So you fluidly can go from FPS style combat into a spaceship and spaceship combat, and EVA onto someone else's ship and try and board the ship and take it over. I mean, so you just sort of have this, and we have it on a, even though it's not fleshed out to the close to the level that it's going to be fleshed out down the road, it's still a pretty big map, and there's quite a few locations, a lot of things to do. So it's a sort of first time where it sort of steps up to sort of like there are some games that this is all the game would be about. I mean, we're obviously going to be a lot more than that, but it gives you, I don't know how to describe it, it's sort of a sense of liberation, kind of freedom to sort of feel like you can do anything you want to do. And we are building the systems in such a way that as we sort of layer them on and activate more of them, the possibilities will be even more. But we started with a foundation that allowed, so like this crazy stuff that, someone took the noodle vending machine from the Kovalek shipping hub and, basically got it out of the Kovalek shipping hub, pushed it into their constellation, brought the hangar bay up, the bottom loading bay as it comes up. Then of course it comes into the local physics of the constellation, and that takes over. So boom, sits on the bay, flies it all the way back to Port Olisar, takes it out of, drops down the cargo bay, pushes it out, pushes it up the steps, and then into the ship selector room. So obviously delivering goods and all the rest of stuff will be a core part of the gameplay, but we haven't actually put that in the game yet.
Yeah, we promise we're building that.
Yeah, and someone's already kind of doing that. So I mean, that just sort of shows you, because of the fundamental system and how On the base level, we're making it so the physics work inside the local grids and outside the local grids, and they can transition between them. It sort of allows for emergent gameplay. So it's only what you're seeing right now is just scratching the surface. But I have to say that for me, I think I very rarely tweet, and I tweeted back in Thanksgiving time because I was playing on the PTU with Sean and Tony Zurabek, and it's just fun. I mean, it's just kind of fun to watch people come and go. I mean, it just sort of feels like there's a universe, and this is a universe that we don't have the sort of seamless transition between servers, and you can't meet with your friends just yet. But even where it is right now, it feels really quite cool. And we're only going to be adding more players in any one area, as well as being able to let them transition and find your friends, and a lot more gameplay. But like I said, right now is actually fun. And the nicest thing is reading everybody's stories. So on the forums or on Reddit or whatever, you can people are sort of creating narrative of their experiences, and it reminds me of Wing Commander. So like one of the first things that when Wing Commander first came out, and obviously you didn't have the internet like you have now, but there was sort of CompuServe, bulletin boards, and other sort of forms that you could sort of see some online chatter. And the thing that was always amazing me was that Wing Commander people were talking about the wingman, not like, oh well, you need wingman A to get past mission B and that kind of stuff. It was more like, oh I hate that person, he's an asshole, so I'm not flying with him. Or I love Maniac. Well, some people like flying with Maniac, and then I like Paladin. Or the people were sort of picking their wingman based on sort of their personal sort of feelings towards them, relationship, and we're personalizing the experience. And that's sort of when I knew Wing Commander and that format was going to really sort of be special. And I can already sort of see the beginnings of that and what's happening in 2.0 out there, because there's so much more that's added into it. And I think maybe it's just the fact that you have the possibility of doing so many things on the sort of scale from like right down to sort of a small, right in front of your nose scale, to big sort of more space-based scales, flying around in space and visiting different locations. And so I'm super excited. And every day I get on and look at videos of streams that people are doing, and that's kind of the cool thing about today's games today, is that you sort of can see other people, people share their experiences playing in a way they didn't used to. And so yeah, I'm a happy camper right now. I mean, we've got a lot of work still to do and it's going to be so much more awesome than what we have now. But I actually already think now is pretty damn good. If we had it more stable, dealt with some more of the frame issues, it's a really nice base, and it sort of does show people the potential of where the game's going to end up. And our pledge is that we're not finishing until this thing is the fully realized living, breathing universe that I've always dreamed it can be. So anyway, yeah, I'm happy. There you go. That's a long answer, but there you go.
And we're going to take a look at it a little bit later. We can have Chris actually
crash
explore the
into
universe
things
a little bit.
I'll try to crash into things and steal some people's ships.
By the way, when you tweeted about Plague 2.0, you said you tweet rarely. You tweet so rarely that my phone lit up with our moderators and well wishers, like, someone's using Chris's account. Yeah. Is it even hacked? I'm like, no, he's just excited.
Yeah, no, I'm too busy making the game. So social media takes a lot of work. So I'd rather be working and developing a game than tweeting all the time. But occasionally when I'm happy with something, then I won't mind sharing it.
So we're going to do a little impromptu time for the chairman. We'll be taking some live questions from the RSI chat. That's rubberspaceindustries.com/community/chat. Any backer can go in there, and I will be pulling questions for Chris, which I suppose are probably delayed by about 30 seconds. Okay. But
is there water around here anywhere?
Folks in chats, let's get some questions.
There's a glass on my table, by the way, if you want to, because I think we're short of things. I'm just saying there's a glass on my table if we can't find anything back there, since we haven't unpacked in our office yet properly.
Just waiting for some questions to come in. The first question is, will there be birds in Star Citizen?
Will there be birds? Well, Okay. Water. Fantastic. Thank you very much. See, when you're on camera, people bring you things. It's very good.
When you're the chairman, I didn't get any water.
Yeah. We didn't ask, Ben. You should have asked. I would say quite likely. So yes, no. I mean, we do plan on having wildlife down on planets.
All right. Let's see. Well, we can't answer when questions, by the way, so rephrase them, please. Let's see. Is the industrial hangar still considered to be an asteroid in space? It's the asteroid hangar.
You mean is the asteroid hangar meant to be an asteroid in space? Yeah, I mean, well, we're gonna, so the idea would be sort of like the kind of asteroid parrot hangar would be on a place that would be, like so. I think we may have talked about the sort of Nix system and Levski, which is the landing area on Delmar, but that would be an example of where the asteroid style hangar you could spawn. Like if that was a place for people outside the UE law, then maybe that would be where you would, and you wanted to be that kind of person, and you would sort of, your hangar would be an asteroid hangar, and that would be, say, maybe one of your starting locations.
Were you able to do any motion capture work for Squadron 42?
You mean me personally?
You personally?
Not yet. I'm planning on doing some we're going to do we've just got to finish off a few things, and we're going to do that at the end of March and April. And so I'll do that. We already scanned me we scanned my head and everything. So yes, I will definitely appear in Squadron 42.
He was in all the Wing Commander games. You can find him.
Yes. Well, the ones that we did live action, not the. I mean, I guess I am in Wing Commander 1 and 2 because I was the model for the rotoscoping we did on some of the stuff.
They talk about you too. Shot class is like, oh, Colonel Roberts likes his tea.
Yeah. So. Yeah, thank you. Look at
that. What is the status of VR integration?
We give this for. All right. So the status of VR integration. Thank you, Santa. The status of VR integration is that we've been pretty busy with getting 2.0, and we're trying to get 2.1. So I would say that we still have some stuff to integrate from the most recent CryEngine drop, because they've been actually doing quite a lot of VR. I'm pretty sure you guys have noticed that they've sort of completely like doubled down, and they're all VR now. So there are some updates on the VR that we just need to integrate in. It's a little more complicated because we've changed the engine so much. We've changed the rendering pipeline to sort of enable us to do a lot of the things that we need to do. So it's not very easy. So nowadays we've diverged from CryEngine, where we don't take regular updates from them anymore, although we will cherry pick certain features that maybe we're not working on that we think would help out well, and VR is a good example of it. So it's really just a matter of getting some engineering time in the Frankfurt team. Now the Frankfurt team, by the way, are a bunch of the folks that are the leads there are the guys that originally did the VR work at Crytek. So they know it pretty well, but I would be expecting it to sort of get up to sort of speed with the most recent stuff sometime early next year. I mean, it really all sort of depends. I mean, there's so many things going on. Do you want better performance? Around the comma rays in 2.0, and so a lot of the engine guys, we're spending a lot of time trying to optimize the engine for the sort of load that you never get in a standard single player, even a standard multiplayer game. So like, for instance, in something as big as the 2.0 Crusader map, the players can all jump to all these different locations. Like each one of the comma rays, and each one of the comma rays generates a bunch of AI. And so what happens is all of a sudden you've got hundreds of AI all processing on the server at the same time, and so that just requires sort of intelligent updating. So we've got a whole bunch of stuff that's in the works. It's not in 2.0, but it's for later on for how our entities are updated. Intelligent updating over the networks. You're not sending like everyone's position to everybody. You don't need to do that. But all those things are to enable a server to be able to sort of handle an area as big as, say, a star system like Crusader, and have lots of things happening in different corners of it, but be efficient. And that's kind of one of the things that you sort of see a bit of the slowdown on some, like as the instance gets full and there's 16 players in it, and if the players go into different areas, they're triggering a whole bunch of other stuff that's happening, and so that brings the server frame rate down. It doesn't have to render stuff, but it has to do a lot of simulation, and then that affects the various clients in different ways. So right now for me, the primary sort of like low engineer, the engine focus for our top guys is making all that work better, which is kind of one of the reasons why VR, as much as we dig it and we love it and it's cool, it gets pushed back a bit because I'd rather get the performance for everyone up. So there you go.
And it's the same for things like the track IR. I've seen that a lot where it's still coming, but
we plan. We want to have all the VR. I mean, I think we were playing around with the Tobii eye tracking device too. So we like it. We really, and we think it's going to be super immersive. But I know we've got, we're almost at 300 people now. I know people think that we're going down, but we go the other way actually. So there's about just under 200 people in Europe now, and even with that many people working on the game, we're short. We feel like we don't have enough network guys, we don't have enough physics guys. We don't have. Network and physics are two of the bigger ones. Animation would help, and we need more gameplay people. And this is all on the engineering, so we always sort of feel like a short engineering. I've never done a project that I haven't. Every project I've done in my life, even when there were much smaller ones, everyone wanted more people. That's just the nature of the beast. But the point is that there's of a list to do. There's a list this big, and then there's enough people to tackle this much. So things like VR and track IR sort of tend to, because they're not for everybody, we put that back to, okay, well, let's get the game further along and then integrate it. Because if you keep integrating it, you still have to change it, because we're changing so much of the base system ourselves anyway, because we're rewriting the rendering system for DX12, all that kind of stuff.
Favorite ship and why?
Favorite ship is in Star Citizen.
Star Citizen. I'd be curious to know in general.
Well, I would say the Constellation. I mean, the Constellation's the ship. I mean, it was when I pitched it, it was sort of it was the multi-cruise ship example, sort of like our Millennium Falcon. So I guess if you wanted to think my favorite ship outside that, probably the Millennium Falcon, which is very apropos because it's Star Wars in a couple of days, and I haven't seen it yet, but it looks like the reviews are actually really good. When I looked last night, it was 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I'm sure there'll be someone that will.
Yeah, then you'll get to the people who want their review to be noticed, so they'll be the first one.
But hey, I'm happy, hype drive, fully engaged, very happy. We're taking the whole LA office to go see it this Friday as part of our sort of Christmas party, and then we're going to go afterwards and have a nice dinner and Christmas party and thank everyone for the work they've done this year. So, so Millennium Falcon outside, and then probably with a close second, like a Viper from the original Battlestar Galactica, and then Constellation and Star Citizen.
Will we be seeing personal EVA gear like jetpacks?
Absolutely. So one of the big things that we don't have working. Well, we're in process of building it. A lot of the underlying systems, and you'll start to see it rolling out early next year, is that you'll be able to dress up and personalize your character just like you will be on ships. And even on ships, we don't really have all the components and all that stuff built and figured out. So that's a whole plan for this coming year, is sort of a lot more components in ships to allow you to customize and modify your ship and tweak it. And the same for a character. So you can buy your different space suits, or sort of environmental suit that you can go outside, flight suit, or just casual clothes to wear, different helmets, different jetpacks, and the items that you wear on your player character operate just like the ship. So they're connected by pipes, and so if you have you need a life support pack, and that would be connected to sort of your EVA suit and helmet. And if you didn't have your helmet on, you're out in vacuum, then you would die. So like for instance, if you're flying a Connie, you probably don't want to be sitting there in like an EVA suit, because it'll make you more clumsy and all the rest of the stuff, and you want better visibility. So that's sitting there in sort of the EVA like locker. And then if you get a hull breach and you're going down, then you'll probably have to get out of your seat, go to the locker, put the EVA suit and helmet on, they'll be okay. If you don't do it in time, then Arnold Schwarzenegger in Total Recall. So so we're going to try and put all that in. I mean, I think that'll really sort of help for fidelity. The system support it. We're going to use the same item system for players as we do for ships. It's got the same structure and everything. That's all part of the new item rollout that's happening early next year that Paul Rendell and the team here have actually been working on, and it's much more flexible. You know, the use prompt that everyone hates is absolutely going to go away. We've got a really nice unified interface that will work between the conversations and items, and being able to use things will be much better. Right now it's super clumsy using things on ships because it's these sort of bounding boxes that overlap, and it's going to be much more about exactly what you're looking at, and then you'll have prompts for what you're going to do. So you'll sort of see, oh, you know, like, you know, here, the example of this was, I look at this and I can, one of my options will be pick it up, or another option will be take a drink. Or potentially pick it and throw water on Ben. You know, those would be options that I could select between. And there will be different users on items that will be contextual based on your player state, your game state, the environment state. So some options may, so like if Ben wasn't sitting next to me, the option to throw water on Ben would not be one of the use cases I could have on the glass. So that whole new system is going to really be cool because it's going to enable a lot of possibilities. And you can already see kind of the nuggets of possibilities in 2.0, and we'll go a lot more. It's almost sort of, you know, it's like, I don't know how you quantify it. It's like, it's, you know, it's a shooter, it's a space sim, it's an adventure game. You know, we can make it a horror game. I mean, there's, you know, there's some spooky stuff in the Kovacs, and imagine coming across a wreck and perhaps, you know, alien facehugger thing jumps out at you. I mean, all these things are possible because we're sort of building from this ground up a system to allow you to do these different things to, you know, make the universe sort of really great. So there you go.
Like the concept of a facehugger has become so ubiquitous that does seem like something that would just happen in space.
Yeah, but you know, we'll definitely have like some space creatures and kind of that, you know, just to, no, because we want to have like derelicts and encounters. We're going to, I mean, to create a world this big, we need to have, you know, not just design content, but content that's sort of dictated by the world itself, and to a certain extent procedural. So I think you know, it's going to be good. I mean, you can already see in 2.0 you have like very basic AI encounters, as well as you can do stuff with players. But most of the time, a lot of people are like doing stuff together, fighting the AI, and then occasionally interacting with each other. And I think you're going to definitely see that blend as the game has more stuff added to it and matures. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that just happens in the world that you can interact with that doesn't require interacting with other players, but there's also stuff that's a lot more fun doing stuff with other players, and there'll also be the opportunity to, you know, engage and fight or whatever other players.
Creatures like space whales.
You never know.
We showed off the current state of the Starfarer.
Right.
I keep wanting to say Starlancer.
Yeah.
That's wrong. We showed the current state of the Starfarer before this, and folks have been asking, how is it going to fit in the hangar? What are we going to do for these larger ships?
So we supersized our biggest hangar ever in York. I think it just about fits in there. But yes, it's another UK special where they've, you know, it's big, yeah, like the Idris. And I don't know, we went around inside it. I think we got some pictures that hopefully will go up on the site at some point, because this should be in the hangar, you know, very early next year. But it's huge. I mean, that's not like when we conceived the Starfarer on paper, we were not conceiving it to be this. It's like a mini little capital ship. You know, like just the, you know, there's you know, crew beds and separate captain quarters, and just the interior cargo space is massive, and then you've got all the fuel tanks you can do. I mean, that's a beast. So yeah, but you know, that's kind of what Star Citizen's about. I mean, that's the whole idea is, you know, we go from, you know, incredibly small detail and you know, all the way up to huge things, whether it's, you know, big transport ships or big space carriers or, you know, planets. That's I think the thing that Star Citizen works really well is that sort of ability to scope in scale between going right up close to something and getting all the way back and everything huge, and being able to move around and interact. I don't think another game has ever done that. You know, we obviously are still doing stuff to enable it, and a lot of our tech work has been to support that. So this past year, you're now starting to see the results of what we've been working on, and we'll show you some other stuff later on that will be further along that line. and then next year we'll be able to sort of really leverage it, because there's just been a lot of like behind the scenes low end sort of engine work that like isn't particularly glamorous, but it enables us to do this the game with the sort of scale and ambition that we're going for.
But, let's take a moment to talk about 2.1. What we're looking at for the next iteration of the.
Well, we're desperately trying really hard. I mean, 2.0, we thought we would go live maybe a bit sooner than we did. So we don't have a lot of time before Christmas, where pretty much everybody's on holiday. In 2.1, we're going to have the freelancer flyable. There's some really nice pictures of the freelancer that should have gone up. We should have showed some of the stuff. And then the Sabre, which we just announced that CitizenCon will be in your hangar, which is it looks awesome. That's a Nathan Dearsley special. He's our ship art director. I mean, he's an incredible talent. I mean, first out, he's the guy that originally designed the Avenger, and pretty much has done. He did the Retaliator, so he's Mr. Aegis. And one of the reasons why we could get the Sabre done as quickly as possible is because there's a whole sort of like material set, and what happens is the ship artists, I think it's been explained in the ship outline, they spend a lot of time building out the look and the feel and the materials and everything, and then the other ships like the Vanguard or the Sabre are much quicker because it's already been sort of R&D'd and defined out with the Retaliator. So that'll be in the hangar, and that's going to look good. And then the other couple of things we got is physicalized EVA, which is probably the most risky one of the new features, because it has inherently different behavior. You actually, we have a mode that you are a combination of animation driven and physically simulated as sort of a ragdoll at the same time. So it's a little bit like Euphoria, which is this sort of natural motion software that, like, I guess was, they put it in some of the Star Wars games before or whatever. But it allows physical simulation animation at the same time. But that brings a whole new range of challenges in terms of working with the physics systems and doing things like transitioning between local grids and the full global space grid. And working over the network. So we're sort of working through that, but it provides a much more better experience when you're flying around. You feel more inertia weight. Like right now, the EVA is sort of pretty rigid. It's sort of like animation only and kind of a very simple simulation of flying around. It doesn't have a full physical simulation, whereas the driven ragdoll version is every joint simulated and you're getting impulses as you're flying around. The EVA code is essentially a baby version of the IFCS stuff. It's also written by John Pritchett. So you get a much more, the space EVA battles are going to be much cooler. We've worked with all the aiming and stuff to work and do that. It's got some weight to it. It's cool. So I've been playing around with it. That's really good. So, but that's the more risky one because we just don't have a lot of. We're aiming to go to the PTU, hopefully by the end of this week. So we need to do that to be able to have enough time to get a release out before everyone goes on holiday. So fingers crossed, all the rest of the stuff. But those are the basic features. I think also the Million Mile High Club should be in 2.1. We're just working through some kind of gem network kinks in like having that activated. But none of this stuff would be that big of a deal. We're just in a very compressed timeline because of 2.0 coming out, and now we got to get something out before Christmas, or else it'll have to be the new year.
So no release date promise, but it's going to be cool when it gets here. I've seen a bunch of questions about turrets. If we're thinking of having tracking for turrets, if we're thinking of having them balanced independently from the movement of the ship, what are we thinking about?
Well, actually, the turrets already should have an auto stabilization mode. I think you can switch between them in the mode and the key. I don't off the top of my head know what the key is, but they do have a mode that would let you keep the turret would try to keep relative to your target, even if the ship's flying around, and you can switch in and out of that mode. We had that working like a year ago, but I don't know, maybe something broken up. But we've discussed that. But the experience in turrets needs to, all that kind of stuff we need to work on, because 2.0 is the first time that the multi-crew ships have been out there, and we ourselves didn't really have a lot of time to like play with it and balance it and make that work. And there's also some other issues where like some of the multi-crew ships are a little underarmed because the size of the weapons, like the size 2 or size 3 2 weapons, because they're old legacy weapons, they're bigger than the new template for the weapon, and so they wouldn't fit on the turret properly without clipping into geometry, so we put the size 1s on, but really, you know, the Retaliator should have 2 size 2s on the turrets and stuff like that, so they'll have more hitting power. So it's going to be an ongoing task to be balancing the multi-crew ships versus each other, versus you know, single-seat ships, and that's what's great about like the PTU. It's what's great about Alpha is we can sort of see like what everyone's doing and what the issues are much quicker than we can do in our own sort of internal tests. I mean, we got 25 people in tests, which is not a small amount of people, but it's not the same as thousands of people or hundreds of thousands of people out there. And you know, our test guys, you know, they have to spend a lot of time just making sure that, you know, a whole checklist of it boots up and does all the rest of the stuff. And we have multiple builds going every day, so they're like fully. I mean, they're some of the hardest working guys we have in our company. They you know, well, guys and girls, and they kill it every day. And they're, you know, they're usually the sort of last line of defense, because if we're deploying a patch, they've got to make sure it works before we put it up and all the rest of the stuff. So your help is really needed and appreciated in sort of balancing the multi-crew ships.
All right, let's take some more questions. I've seen a number of questions about the theoretical Corvette. Are we still thinking about that?
Yeah, no, we're definitely going to do the Corvette. We just have to sign a concept artist to work on it. So we got our current team is tasked up right now, and so I think when we get off the Prowler, then we'll be able to start work on the design of the Corvette. So stay tuned.
Next big concept ship.
Yes.
All right. Can the Idris land?
Can the Idris land? Well, it was designed to land. I haven't checked recently, but I'm pretty sure it will do, because we have some scenes where it is landed in Squadron 42.
So yes. Let's.
I mean, not necessarily. I'm just to clear, it won't fit in a hangar, right? And it may not necessarily fit in like a bunch of landing locations, but it will have the ability to land. So, just like a jumbo jet, you can't land in every you know, municipal airport, but you can land in some. There will probably be some areas where you potentially could land an Idris.
Yeah, everybody had to upgrade their things for them when they brought the A380 out.
Yep.
Same thing. I have a number of folks asking about the Scimitar. That was from TNGS, wondering if that's still a possibility.
Oh, you mean the Scimitar that was done by Monk? What was it? It was something Monkey, I think.
Yes, I don't remember the.
A bunch of yeah, like cool folks from Austria, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like actually, there's a lot of the designs that were really cool. That was a cool design. The Origin one, that was the finalist that lost in the final.
The Boomslang was one of them.
Yeah, I think that was maybe the Boomslang, and then also the Drake one, which was actually done. We have 2 of the artists that worked on that now work for us, and actually one of the artists that worked on the winning, the Redeemer, Paul DeLacy, works in the UK now at the UK office. So he was the 3D guy doing the Vanguard. So yeah, so TGNS was quite good for us in terms of finding some really talented folks. So yeah, so you know, on that level, some of the stuff that we have there would actually be quite interesting. It's really, again, a matter of time. We're working really hard to get all the current Promise ships out, and you know, at some point we wouldn't be against revisiting and bringing them up to sort of game standards. It's just there's a lot that goes in from what you saw in TGNS to actually putting into the game in terms of building all the damaged pieces and states, the LODs, how it breaks apart, make sure the functionality works, make sure it's efficient in terms of use of the polys and the rendering and all the rest of stuff. So, you know, like the Redeemer, for instance, we haven't had a chance to do a pass on, but that needs essentially a sort of redo on a lot of levels to bring it up to the standards that, you know, the UK ship team have sort of established with, you know, the Retaliator and stuff like that, the Gladius, and you know, there's a bunch of work, but we're not against having some of the TGNS stuff down the road when there's time and opportunity.
Let's see. Is it hard being awesome all the time? No, it is not. Let's see. Folks are wondering about servers in Europe. Everything's Google Cloud right now, is that right?
Well, everything's on Google Compute, but all the servers are in North America at the moment. So I think at one point we were running some servers in the UK, and you could determine who you wanted to, you could specify that you wanted to connect to a European server. We're currently doing a kind of assessment of like what we will be doing in our cloud architecture right now. So we're looking at sort of options to you know, optimize that for everyone's experience, whether you're in Europe or in North America or in other locations like Australia, but not just yet. It's part of our sort of ongoing kind of structural, like how, you know, the advantage of the cloud is that you can deploy the server instances up any way you want, but we also have to sort of deal with the fact that, like, what happens if someone is in Europe wanting to play with their friend in the US or playing with their friend in Australia. So we're trying to come up with like maybe the best solutions that would make the experience the best for everyone. So that's still in plan, but right now I think we're just on North American servers.
In the more immediate future, folks are wondering about matchmaking for the baby PU.
Oh yes.
How are they going to be able to play with their friends?
That is a top priority. So that won't get fixed for 2.1, but matchmaking in terms of getting into the game with your friends, being in game, having your friend join you in game, also having sort of like you know, your kind of whatever you want to call it, VoIP or TeamSpeak, that's like based on your group or team that you can activate and do. They're all super, you know, high priority because, you know, right now it's kind of hard to. You sort of just have to go into an instance with random strangers. Unless 3 of you join at the same time, you're likely to be put in the same one. You know, it's great that everyone's like so friendly and rescue each other from stations and all the rest of the stuff, but it would be nice to go and do stuff with your friends. And so that's a high priority for us. So as soon as we possibly can, you know, people are working on that right now.
We've got someone asking about the difference between Squadron 42 Episode 1 and Episode 2. And I think that's something that comes up a lot, actually.
Oh, in terms of just story?
I think it's important to tell them, you know, that it's a full game. Each one is a game.
Okay,
in
no,
itself,
they're both full games. I mean, they're you know, I would say Episode 1's, you know, bigger than a lot of full AAA games you would get from. I mean, Episode 1's definitely got a lot more content in than, say, Battlefront Star Wars does.
Bird.
Well, it's cool as a multiplayer shooter. It just doesn't have, like, you know. No, I mean, it's just, it's the story's just so big that, you know, there's no way we could do the overall story we want to do in one game. And the problem would be also, we just, you know, you'd be looking at a $150 million game for the single player story, which like nobody spends. And you wouldn't want to wait that long for it. So we sort of wanted, that's why we broke it into a sort of 3 sort of game arc in a sort of, you know, and it's a big overarching story, and part of the issue is we're now telling these stories with the fidelity you do in a movie. And if you notice in a movie, movies tend to look really well when they're on short spans or periods of time. They don't tend to work well where they sort of, you know, have like the scope a big novel would have, right? So you normally, in movies, it's like, you know, like Die Hard, it's one night in a skyscraper and terrorists take over. I mean, it's not like, you know, John McClane's life for the last 10 years. And so, and that's just because movies are really great at sort of the detail and the fidelity of like the experience and the moment in time. And that's kind of what we're doing right now with Squadron 42. And so we have a, you know, really cool story for the first one. And then the second one, you know, shit gets even more crazy, gets darker. And then the third one, you know, so think of it, you know, Episode 4, 5, and 6 without the Ewoks, I don't know. But, you know, it involves, you know, your ongoing, you know, you sort of get, the second one we've already announced right at the very beginning, Dan, was Behind Enemy Lines. So the second one pretty much is about you and the ship you're on, you know, behind enemy lines. And,
of course.
You know, so there you go. and I don't want to give too much away, but no, they're both. I mean, you know, the second and the third one are huge, so they're all, you know, these are all the equivalent size of, you know, big publisher, AAA, you know, Christmas games or whatever. But you know, telling the story of you know, your character and the various other characters like, you know, Admiral Bishop and you know, Commander Steve Colton, who is call signs Old Man, is played by Mark Hamill.
Thank you for this opportunity for a segue, by the way, because we have some footage from about characters in Squadron 42.
Oh, we do.
We
Okay,
would
very
like
good.
to share.
Are we going to share it now? Or
I hope so. Yeah, last time we revealed the Mark Hamill character.
Yeah.
And his,
So we're gonna talk about John Rhys Davies, you know, who's obviously the other stalwart from Wing Commander 3 and 4, and so he plays Graves, who used to serve with Mark's character Old Man back in the days, but now he's left the military, and he's the head of security for you know, Shubin Corp at the Arkhan station, which is the station that a lot of like episode 1 revolves around. And you know, as always, he was fantastic. You know, I love John. He's great, and we had a great time because we also recorded a lot of like combat wild lines. So you know, we had and throwing insults and doing stuff on foot, or when he was you know, because there's a whole like FPS section of combat that he's involved in, and yeah, I can definitely tell you that the you know, the stuff that's in Lord of the Rings, you know, I'm sure he ad-libbed a lot of it because he was just brilliant when he was coming up with all this stuff. But yeah, no, he's great. So I guess we should run a little video of sort of him and talking a bit more about what he's doing, and then I can take some questions.
Yep, your friend and mine, Miss Sandy Gardner, sat down with him for a little interview, which I think we will share now.
Hey everybody, it's Sandy Gardner, and I am here at the EPK for Squadron 42 with John Rhys Davies.
And I am here with Sandy.
Ooh. So it's great to have you back after all this time since Wing 3. And how is it?
Oh, it's lovely to be back. It's even more complicated for us simple-minded actors now than it was before. It's been 18 years. He was a young, very competent game producer and beginning director, and now he's a hugely competent and successful game producer and a very, very competent film director. I think we could intimidate him, you know, back then. Now he just knows that we're scared stiff because we don't understand what the heck we're doing. You know, Chris is not the young boy whiz kid that he was. He's just a young whiz kid with an extraordinary attention to detail. He always had an extraordinary patience. And what comes across, of course, he likes the people he works with. And that's pretty marvelous and magical.
And Mark Hamill, how is it to work with Mark again?
It's lovely to work with Mark again. Again, we've both got a lot older. I like to think that I look younger than him. Yeah, right. No, but we have a lot of fun together, and you know, he was always very precise and very focused, and he's even more so now. By and large, if actors survive into their middle age, they tend to get better. There are exceptions.
You're not quite middle-aged yet, though, are you?
No.
So tell us a little bit about your character.
My character, I play a man called Graves, who actually served with the Old Man, as he's called, in the 118 Squadron. Mark's character has gone on and become a lieutenant commander, and I just wasn't getting the promotion that I thought I deserved, and decided, you know, Civvy Street would be a lot easier. In fact, Civvy Street hasn't been that much easier, and I've ended up taking a job that I had to compromise to take, and it has compromised me. And the real question is, do the old qualities of service and sacrifice and camaraderie still prevail. And if they do, fine. If they don't, well, then the character is without redemption.
Wow. I was watching a little bit of your work, and your voice is obviously, I mean, to me, it's amazing. It just reverberates through the whole place. Did the headset at all, or I guess none of that bothered you, right? The motion capture suit, it didn't bother you?
The motion capture is a nightmare. It's an iron band around your head. But you can't get too close to your fellow actor, you see, because you've got this boom thing hanging out here. You know, if you go up and shake hands, you go bang with your heads, and people say, "Oh, can't do that." You know, no, it upsets the whole whatever it is.
So nothing, you didn't wear anything like that in New Zealand then?
No. This is the current state of the art of motion capture, and that's one of the reasons why this project is really fun to do, but really quite important. Because it's a real interaction now. You know, you're not just looking at a wooden computer face going like that, you know, with a little bit of real fixed acting. You can walk around these characters. You can look at them. You can see their faces registering what you're saying.
Well, our fans are going to be very excited for John Rhys-Davies to be playing Graves, so we look forward to the interaction with Graves in the game, and we hope you had enough fun with us that you will come back for another couple of episodes.
I have to tell you, fans, I really am enjoying doing this. I think it's very important, and I think you are going to experience something you've never experienced before, either on film and certainly not in games. Sit back in your seats. This is going to be a hell of a ride. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
The motion capture is a nightmare. It's an iron band around your head. And I'll swear Mark's is lighter than mine. But you can't get too close to your fellow actor, you see, because you've got this boom thing hanging out here. And you've got 3 little cameras there. And because they're that close to your face, they're effectively fisheyes. So you look at yourself on the monitor and you have the biggest honk you can imagine. This is Lieutenant Commander Colton. It's lovely to work with Mark again. We have a lot of fun together. And I play a man called Graves, who actually served with the old man, as he's called, Mark's character, in the 118 squadron.
You fight or you die. Everybody who can fight, grab a weapon.
I mean, both Mark and John worked with me in Wing Commander 3 and 4. When I started doing Star Citizen and Squadron 42, I wanted to bring back some of the people, the character of Commander Steve Colton, his call sign's Old Man, and Graves, who's sort of running security on the station. It just sort of felt like a natural fit for Mark and John, so I sort of talked to them about coming, and it's kind of fun to work with people you're friends with and you have a lot of respect for.
Right, listen up. This is not a drill. Security personnel will evacuate now to the lower levels immediately.
He's a grand old British actor, and he's got awesome stories, and he's a really lovely man, so a lot of fun.
Come on now, let's get you rearmed and reloaded. This is possibly the most important battle you'll ever fight. This is the current state of the art of motion capture, and that's one of the reasons why this project is really fun to do, but really quite important. Technology and the techniques that we are learning and finding now will probably find themselves in medicine, in education, because you can. It's a real interaction now.
Wait! I'll be damned.
And that nice modest young Englishman, Chris, is at the forefront of this, and I cheer him on. He always had an extraordinary patience, and he's just very comfortable around actors these days. And what comes across, of course, he likes the people he works with. I really am enjoying doing this. Sit back in your seats. This is going to be a hell of a ride.
All right, well, welcome back. Ben looks like he's changed into
I have
Dave.
transformed.
So we thought we probably could answer some questions. As you know, Dave was the lead writer, so between him and Will Weisburn, they wrote the script for Squadron 42 and did an amazing job. Blame it on him if you don't like that one. No, they did a great job, and I think the actors really liked it. I'm quite. It was good stuff.
Yeah, no, it was amazing seeing them. And again, like it's always that fun thing. You go into production with a script and you have a sort of image in your head of a character, and then just seeing what the actors bring to the role is just.
Well, you guys were also writing about 6 or 7 pages every day.
There's that too. Yeah, that helped.
Because we went in and we had like the core scenes all done, but a lot of like the additional color bits, or what we call the wild lines, which is sort of the lines that characters could just say to you if you run into them in the corridor. Yeah. Which was another couple hundred pages or something.
I think it was 250.
So those weren't done by the time we started shooting. So basically, they were every actor's nightmare, because they would like hand, oh, here you are, here's your 8 pages for tomorrow that you haven't seen yet. But it was, like I think we talked about the end scripts, like 700 pages or something?
So far, yeah.
So, that's just insane in terms of film terms.
And it's that interactivity. Like the wild lines, because you're basically, you need to, accommodate for the players wandering around wherever, deciding where they want to go, like, just having a character say hello to you, you don't want them to say hello the same way.
Yeah. So we want 3 or 4 different hellos, and it takes time.
Yeah.
So let's take some questions about Squadron 42 in Graves. Probably not good to have all these questions about other things than Squadron 42 in Graves.
Here's a good one from Corrupt You for Fun. It's an interesting name. Basically, will major decisions in episode 1 basically come into play in episode 2?
Dave can probably speak to this a little bit, but we have things that you do in the story that will ultimately carry across into 2 and 3.
Relationships and choices that you make. Like we want them to feel like it's your story and you're affecting the flow of it and stuff like that. So yes. Keep going for the.
Seems to be a lot of questions that aren't about Graves and stuff. Let's see.
How will characters transition to Squadron 42 into PU?
I think I've answered this question a few times, but the idea is, since we want you to play inside the Persistent Universe and also play Squadron 42, and you may want to do both things at the same time, not have to play Squadron 42 before you go in the PU. What we're going to set up is the idea of, in the PU is sort of the future version of yourself, and Squadron 42 is sort of, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's just, the younger version of yourself playing it. And so you could be in the PU, and if you look back on your journal, you could sort of see the things that you've achieved in Squadron 42, and as you achieve things in Squadron 42, they appear in your journal and maybe unlock some things that are in the PU. So we'll let you go back and forth between Squadron 42 and the PU. That's the plan. I think
something happened to the chat.
Yeah, the chat went away. Are you on channel? Where was it?
There it goes. Someone had a good question of, can you kill a Vandal with a towel? I think that's a design question.
I don't think I don't think you can kill a Vandal with a towel. Chuck Norris may be able to kill him with a towel.
That's probably true.
But
I mean, if he wants to use the towel, that's
Steven
an option.
Seagal or Chuck Norris, but not you.
People loving John Rhys Davies' voice. Yes, you could easily listen to him talk for hours. It's a fantastic voice. And then for some reason the chat roll is going very weird. It is frozen.
I don't know. Are we going back to see everything?
Trying to, because it's not updating. I'll just refresh. Stand by.
Nope, disconnecting. That's not
Wow.
good. Connecting. Okay, here we go. Hey, Jared, which chat are we meant to be in? General chat. Okay.
Okay.
We're just connecting.
I really feel like Jared's about to rob a bank.
Yeah, he does. Really.
Where's the chat?
Yeah, exactly.
It's been disappearing. Yep.
Up there. Wow, it must be slammed. Oh, the sales went up. So the website is slammed.
There we go.
All right, back to general. Okay.
No, there we go.
Okay, questions. Can characters like Graves die in EP1 and not carry to your EP2? It's a good question. Guess you'll have to play it and see.
No spoilers. All right, so yeah, it looks like we are really slammed.
What else do we have as a question here?
Will our relationships with the characters from Squadron 42, this is from Bride Base 1, follow on into the PU?
For the ones that would go across into the PU, probably, and also some things that you will do in Squadron 42 will sort of unlock things that you can do in the PU. So, you know, perhaps you help someone out and then they say, yo, well, when you're on this planet, look up my cousin family or cousin. They'll give you a deal on a spaceship or a gun. So there'll be some of those kind of things in there that will sort of have repercussions for your PU experience, which is why I was going on about having the sort of log, which is your sort of diary of what happened when you were in the military. And as you play Squadron 42, it sort of unlocks things in that, and that would unlock things in the PU.
Right. This is from Talir. How does Graves' character compare to the prickly nature of Hamill's old man? Is he a jovial, nice character?
He's big, jovial. I mean, I think to a certain extent we sort of, actually Mark's really sweet, so I couldn't say that we wrote him to be like him. It just, it works well for his character. But, John's a big personality, mm-hmm. Graves is a bit of a big personality.
Yeah.
And so he's definitely less prickly. I mean, everyone sort of jokes on old man's prickly nature.
Yeah.
Including Graves' character.
Yeah, it's sort of a well-known thing that that's just how he kind of is, and and they definitely poke fun at each other. I mean, it's a great thing too. I mean, and that was.
And you actually see in the scenes with, especially like some of the early scenes where. They meet up and they haven't seen each other for a long time. Mm-hmm. There's like the old man isn't who you like. He's different to Graves than he is to you.
Yes. Yeah.
So they're like reminiscing about times they had, and there's a camaraderie while old man's still barking at you as the player. So
you immediately sense that shift where he regards Graves very differently than he treats you. And I guess the website crashed again.
God damn it, don't play so many ships. Can we just get some questions?
We're standing by spamming connecting.
All right, let's freeform.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite moment in the shoot with John Rhys Davies?
I can't go into the spoilers for it, but he has a very nice monologue that he
absolutely decimated it in the best way possible. That was it gives you a bit more into the sort of backstory of Graves, and it was one of those types of things that was like, I always liked it. It felt really fun when we were working on it, and then just seeing him really like sink his teeth into it and go off was really exciting. And again, the voice is just amazing.
Yeah, no, he's good. No, that's a good scene. I liked it when him and Mark, their first sort of meeting, and
the first one's very fun.
It's good. And then I like I mentioned before, his combat wild lines were hilarious because we wrote some, but then he sort of just went with it.
Yeah, he kept
and we were just like cracking up.
Yeah, again, I mean as we were talking earlier about the wild lines in general, we had to do, if anybody was ever in a combat situation, you have to do a bunch more. So there's just a bunch of lines you have to do in general, and then if they fight, you have to do a bunch more lines where it's grenade or I'm hit or I need healing and stuff like that. And so yeah, he was really knocking them out of the park. It was actually just really cool too seeing. I mean, I happened to be on set actually when he first showed up, and he and Mark were on set for the first time.
Yeah, and there was like a sweet moment when they saw each other again.
Yeah, it was really cool.
No, he's great. I mean, John, you can talk to John forever. He knows so much. He's got such a, I mean, not just about acting. I mean, he just is he's this sort of historian. And, knows all. There's, he's a pretty awesome guy. All right, so. Yeah, okay, well, I guess I know we're up to it because there's goddamn it, don't buy so many ships. Okay, will there be other narrative projects created a la Strike Commander if Squadron 42 is a success? Yes and no, definitely. So we're planning longer. I mean, obviously we've got to get through Squadron 42, and it takes a lot of effort and time to make something that's this deep, but we definitely want to tell more narrative stories in the PU. So we'll have several levels. One, we'll have some smaller stuff that will be just sort of in the PU that will be, more. I mean, there's a tiny little bit in 2.0, which was really just with voice acting, like messages and stuff. But we're going to do that properly with characters and have some sort of scripted missions we'll have in there alongside of what missions that the universe generates for you in terms of trading and stuff like that. But we also want to do, the whole Star Citizen universe is really deep. So. Squadron 42, obviously we went with that because it's this sort of ode to Wing Commander. You're the rookie in the military, fighting against the alien menace. And so, we had to do, that's definitely the first thing that we're going to do. But, there's a lot of great fiction, Dave wrote a character called Kid Crimson, who's kind of he's like a good pirate. And he's sort of cool and fun we have Cal Mason, which was the other character that Dave had written in some of the original fiction that we have in Squadron 42, and he's played by Jack Houston, who's wonderful, and he sort of comes into the story halfway through, and he's just like a whole.
He is a force of nature.
So we'll definitely. Our plan would be to tell other stories inside the universe. Because it's really rich. There could be stories about an advocacy agent. There could be stories, like I always
miners.
like Tanya Oriel, who's sort of like she was like, sort of like a futuristic sci-fi version of Tomb Raider, basically.
Yeah, Indiana Jones.
We definitely will. Right.
All right. See if we can actually.
Which one? What about? Without going into we get this one about Graves. Without going too far into detail, will Graves come with us after we meet him on the station and fight beside him? You will definitely, in episode 1, be fighting alongside Graves at several points in the game. So there you go. And then there's something about piracy. What about piracy in Squadron 42? Our characters will be separated entities on the PU and Squadron 42. Will there be interactions on this side?
I
don't know. I'm not quite
guess
sure what the question is for.
If it's a question of, if you're playing a pirate in the PU versus Squadron 42.
Yeah, I mean, I think who you are, just think of yourself in the PU as the later version of yourself, and who you are in Squadron 42 is the younger version. And you know, you've mustered out of the military in the PU, and you do whatever you want to do.
Right.
So I'm not sure, Squadron 42 necessarily impacts PU as much, other than the people you meet and things you do will unlock things in the PU. But you could be a goody two shoes in Squadron 42 and then decide you want to be a dastardly pirate in the PU if you wanted to be. There's one down if you go down. We get command over a wingman or even more. So you'll be able to, it'll be like Wing Commander, you'll be able to ask your wingman to do things for you. They may or may not, this got disconnected again. They may or may not do those things for you. It sort of depends on the personality.
Yeah.
It's kind of not dissimilar that, like Maniac didn't necessarily listen to you in Wing Commander when you asked him to do things.
Right.
We kind of have the same, and that partly will also depend on the relationships you build with the characters.
The reputation. And
so if you spend time and you sort of get friendly with them, they're more apt to sort of help you out or do things that you ask them to do. So it's in that respect, we kind of wanted to be very Wing Commander 1 like.
Right. This bottom one here.
Oh yeah. Oh, we can still see the grayed out one, right?
Yeah.
Will we be able to acquire different ranks in Squadron 42 that will allow us to play the story from different perspectives? So you'll definitely get medals and you'll get a promotion or two, but I don't think that's really going to allow you to play it from a different perspective. So you're never going to get to the point in the episode 1 where you get promoted and now you sort of decide what the missions are for the ship or anything like that.
Right.
So you're a fighter pilot. You have there is definitely more freedom than there in any of the Wing Commanders in terms of kind of like how you'll approach things, and there'll be some cases where there'll be additional optional sort of side missions or things that you can do. So it's going to be more sandboxy than say the Wing Commanders were, which were a bit more linear, but it's still driven by a sort of narrative story. So the narrative story is the main thrust, and there'll be some occasional options that you could sort of do more of or not do as much with.
We'll see if we can refresh.
Yeah, we should have probably gotten these pre-asked.
Stand by.
Oh, it's back.
Will we get to fly Vandal ships in Squadron 42?
You will get to fly Vandal ships in a later episode of Squadron 42. In the first one, you don't get to fly a Vandal ship. You get to fight Vandal, but not necessarily fly it. Will the Pegasus put an appearance in Squadron 42? What is the Pegasus?
Oh, the escort.
Well, the Pegasus will not have an appearance in Squadron 42 Episode 1, but will be in the later Episode 2. Will any of the characters in Squadron co-pilot with us, such as a Rio? Absolutely, yes. So there will be characters that you will meet in Squadron 42, and also depending on what happens, who lives, who dies, what your relationship with, they could be your gunners, or you can be a gunner and they're flying. So we have that in quite a few places. That's the Rio, so like that's the.
Oh, they're talking about the movie.
Oh no, yeah. You got pilots such as Rio. They can be a
bird.
A bird, a colourful bird from Brazil. No.
Oh, there we go.
Will alien languages be ready in time for Squadron 42? Will the Vandal we fight be speaking Vandal? Absolutely. I will say that we did that. We actually had a preeminent, alien language linguist that is quite well known for what they do, and we.
Yeah, got the actors speaking Vandal.
Yes. So yes.
Really
so
exciting.
we have Vandal, and we're going to start working on Sean, I think.
Yeah, Sean's next on the docket. And then Banu, and then.
Yep. So yeah. So there you go. What's that? 1 minute?
1 minute.
One more question.
Oh, one more question. Okay. Oh. Decisions.
There's one about all the Squadron 42 characters. So it takes place in a later time. I mean, I would say that there's characters in Squadron 42 that are in the PU too.
Yeah.
So here's one question, our grayed out disconnect screen, which is, question, will characters from Squadron 42 exist in the Star Citizen universe since it takes place at a later time? And I would say that yes, there will be some that will exist in that. There'll definitely be sort of public figureheads that will be in Squadron 42 that will also be in the PU. You kind of saw, like we did a little bit of that, like Attack on Vega, lore fiction. So, and there's, Parker Tyrell is in Squadron 42. Yeah. And Parker, so it's the same universe and world.
Want to make sure that they feel connected.
And at the end, once you've, potentially once you've, done the journey of Squadron 42, the full trilogy, then some of those characters that potentially have survived, maybe you'll meet them retired on a planet or something like that. Also. Right. So the answer on that one would be yes. And I think that was Santa with his goggles.
Yes.
Is nodding to me and saying, "We need to throw it." Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. All right. So sorry for stumbling through these questions. I had no idea that the chat roll was going to keep on going down. But the last thing we thought would be kind of fun was to show you where we're at on the Graves character in the game. So this is a turntable. It's done by Jonathan Riley, who's our lead character artist in the UK. He's awesome, really talented, actually a big film character guy. So this is his. This is our sort of high poly sculpt. It doesn't have the full like scan. Because all our actors, we scan the faces and put them on and do this stuff. But it's based on his scan. But this is kind of sort of like his default character. So
it's cool.
Let's roll it, Tom.
Are we live?
I think we're live.
Are we?
Are we live? We're live.
Oh, of course we are. Hello.
Hey, everybody. See, what confused me is there's no longer a camera there. So.
I know. The middle camera has gone because it went to Chris, and so we're looking at two small cameras. CitizenCon venue. We are locking down the details of the CitizenCon venue, and they will be up as soon as we have them. The CitizenCon location for next year will be Los Angeles. We're looking at Frankfurt, however, yay. However, we are going to also go to Gamescom next year. So as they're very close together, as Gamescom is August 17 to 21, then we are going to do the other event in North America to spread out our fan base. So yes.
We've got a couple of sale announcements folks might be interested in. There's some new merchandise up on the site. We've put up the patches. The patches are available now. We've also set up a pre-order for Jump Point Volume 2, which is, I don't know if you remember, a year or so ago we did a handsome hardbound book of all the stories in the first year of Jump Point. This will be year 2. So all those articles about the making of the different ships and the game design portions, the unique fiction gets reprinted, all the galactic guides. It's going to be pretty cool. So pre-orders are up. If you're a subscriber, you get a 50% discount on your first copy. And it's always cool when we get to do a book. So get those pre-orders in, and hopefully we'll be able to do this a whole bunch of other times too.
Yes, a lot of people had been asking for them, so go and get your copy.
Third pre-order, we'd previously talked about having the SciTech joystick up on the site today. That is not going to happen immediately. They're working out some details about shipping. When we order something through the SciTech website, it's basically Europe or the US, and we ship to 99 different countries.
We
so
do, and so at the moment, places like Australia are missing, and we can't have that. So as soon as we've sorted that out, we will get that up on the website, probably into the new year. And I just realized the whole time, Jared, or Santa, should I say?
Oh, wait, you've ruined Christmas.
Well, he's been sitting here the whole time, and we just like haven't said it. Oh my gosh, sorry.
Also, Santa.
Christmas is ruined.
Christmas is ruined.
Sandy Gardner ruined Christmas.
I did.
Christmas
yeah,
is
well, I just realized we were sitting here and just completely ignoring him.
Well, before we get to Mr. Claus here, a couple more housekeeping things for the RSI site.
The Euro?
That's the flame one.
Unmelts.
Unmelts will be ready, hopefully later this week, for folks who have been waiting for that system. Turbulent has it up and running. They had a couple edge cases, people who had upgraded a package and then changed it and so on, but they're working those out. Should be up, they're telling us, by the end of the week.
Yeah, it's very, very complicated. So,
yes.
So hopefully Friday.
Unmelts. The bad news is that
well, it's not really bad news. It's just
it's live.
It's just the Euro.
Yeah, we as you guys know, for the past since the tax changes, we've been keeping the Euro artificially low to keep the packages a little bit less expensive in some areas. As of the start of the new year, we're going to have to change that back to some the current exchange rate. Right. So we want to let everybody know in advance.
It changes on January 1st.
January 1st, and since we know that people want a last shot at a lot of our digital ships, we're going to bring back the free-for-all sale from the that we did last month. We'll do it
on Boxing Day.
It's going to be Christmas weekend, so 25th through the 28th, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
We'll unlock all those ships again, and people will be able to get them with the favorable exchange rate before we have to change.
Yeah.
So look forward to that if there's something you somehow missed out on last time.
If you're in Europe.
If you're in Europe, yes. It'll be available for everyone. It just U.S. dollar will not be affected.
And why are you here?
Yes, why are you here, Santa?
Because in addition to bringing back all of our ships, we are also bringing back the $30 anniversary package, 5,000 of them. That's Star Citizen and Squadron 42 together for $30. Coming in the new year, we're going to separate those. This will be the last chance you can get both games for $30, which is a heck of a steal if you ask me. And I look like
as Santa Claus, you know something about stealing.
I look like a delinquent Santa right now, don't I? So believe me, I would know that. So $30, Squadron 42, Star Citizen, and an Aurora. 5,000 units. Those are going on sale when?
Now.
Oh,
are those up now?
Maybe. We don't know. Hopefully. Turbulent, if you're watching this,
I'm sure they're not. They're very busy. But the separating in the new year, end of January, is what we mean by New Year. So January 31st, I think. Our next live stream's on the 21st of January. So.
21st of January, yeah. So if you want to give the gift of Star Citizen and Squadron 42 for Christmas, for your holidays, for the least amount of money you're going to be able to do it now.
Oh, one more piece of housekeeping that we have missed. The referral change, the additional referral tiers 25 and 42 should be active right now. 25 is a racing pack that permanently unlocks all the racing ships in Arena Commander. That's just Arena Commander, not the Persistent Universe. And 42 is a combat pack that's a whole range of cool ships for AC permanently. So, as Arena Commander becomes this in-game game, we can do things like that people have ships they don't necessarily have in their hangar. We're excited about that, and there's more tiers to come.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any more housekeeping? Going once, Santa going twice, three
That's
times?
It. I think we got a video to show.
All right, we do. We do? Hold on, more housekeeping?
Okay. No, I was going to say, this is our last segment here for, so we're just to say Merry Christmas to you.
Oh, the Christmas feels. I feel like you should be in the middle for this, but are you just singing your own tune?
It's been a really incredible year, and you know
It has been. We have a really great team on the community side, and it's nice that they have a bit of. I've got hair in my mouth, or is that your hair?
It's
No.
my hair.
Weird.
My hair is in your mouth.
Yeah, so this is how awkward we can get. No, we have a great community team here, so I'm really proud of our whole team. Tom and his guys built an amazing set over there, and Jared busted his something.
Okay, stop touching me, Santa. You're really warm.
All right, we just show the video then instead of doing this.
So
all right.
We've got another video. This is the second half of the ship pipeline video. Check it out.
Are we out?
The very last part of our ship pipeline is called flight prep. So we have the final geometry of the ship, we have the textures in place, and now we're just going ahead and we're adding in the damage states to these ships, making sure that parts of the ship break off, animating what's required for hangar and flight ready, making sure that UI is into the ships. We have to make sure that audio and VFX get their involvement into this stage as well, so blowing up a ship to 100% damage.
The game balancing takes place, all the pretty textures, all the lighting, all the VFX. Pretty much every department in the company gets involved.
As producer, my primary role is to make sure that everyone knows what they're doing, creating these beasts of ships, if you will. And we have a very, very large pipeline. Some of these ships are like floating levels. Whatever stage you're at, there's a knock-on effect to every other discipline here.
So we get involved in the process, ideally after the tech artists have kind of done the majority of their work. Once they've got the kind of functionality in place, that's when we can then go in and kind of add the VFX could be seen as the polish, I guess, to that functionality. So for example, with the damage, when the ship is actually all broken up, and those kind of pieces can be broken off, then we then go in and kind of add the explosions and any smoke and fire and stuff like that to it. And this is the retaliator here, and basically all I'm really doing here is just throwing missiles at it just to kind of see how everything's reacting, and I could do this all day. These ship artists make these beautiful ships and we get to blow them up in a blaze of glory, so yeah, it's kind of fun. We check the forums, we also check the people upload a lot of their YouTube footage, which is really, really useful actually, because the backers can test the game like we can't, because there's so many more of them, and it's always nice to kind of see them putting the ships into situations that we might not have envisaged. So actually, yeah, it's really nice to see.
So I handle all the damage system. We wrote the damage system that allows us to punch bullet holes through the ships and to burn them and scorch them, and also to do the opposite of that, to repair the ships. And we're also responsible for the performance of the ships and how fast they render, to make sure that we can get a lot of ships on screen and that they all run at a nice fast frame rate for everyone. Yeah, we're pushing quite a lot more detail in every regard than a lot of other games, and definitely every game that the guys here have worked on before. So the number of polys in the ships will be like 5 to 10 times at least what people are used to. The number of meshes we're using is very high. Texture detail is pretty insane compared to what most people are used to in traditional games. But the good news is there's a lot of optimizations we've still got to do. It's going to get a lot better than it is now. We've got a lot in the bag, hopefully, to get back to ensure that artists can stay at this type of high level of quality that they've been aiming for.
So I'll take a early white box version of a ship, and then I'll take the screenshots from that and I'll start overlaying some images over the top of that, which I'll label up and then send back to the artists, and then they'll just build the screens according to the spec that I provide.
You get information about your ship in terms of how damaged it is. You get information about your what level of shield allocation you're currently at, or your emissions levels. And what's neat about it is you can actually go into each of these screens and swap out the information that you display. So you can actually configure and customize your experience.
Yeah, so these are the docs that we supply to the artists with the screen specs. So some ship elevations or some ship images that pinpoint exactly where the seats are on the ships. And then we break down those seats into this table, which lists out the actual number of screens, screen types, the ratios. Let the artist know whether we definitely need this screen, whether we like this screen, or if it's an optional screen. And we'll often throw it into a screenshot as well to just show the visibility. As soon as you put an abstract layer of UI, then it kind of reminds the player that it's a game. But if you can keep them in the world and you can keep them interacting with things that are actually on the geometry that's in the world, then it keeps the player kind of locked into the experience.
You see the screens flicker on and you know, it booting up and stuff, and it just really makes it feel like the ship comes alive and things are functional and you can do all, and you're like in control of a spaceship.
Each ship manufacturer has quite a clear set of rules that we follow to give them a sort of sonic identity, so you can understand that a ship made by RSI is sonically identifiable just from the sound, which is really cool. So that's the doors opening, little hatches, seats coming back and forth, all those sort of nice little interactive elements inside of the ship that you get as the first step when it gets put into the hangar. And then after that it goes flight ready, and we'll do things like the thrusters, and more recently we're going to start sonifying the power plant, and that's going to actually become quite a significant part of the sound of spaceships when you're listening to your own ship from the interior. So once that goes in, it's pretty much ready to go, ready to put in the hangar, and if it's for a flight ready ship, then it's ready to go flight ready after the audio goes in.
It's very rewarding to see it finally coming together, you know, and hopefully on a deadline that was originally agreed on.
The level of talent's really high. It's some of the best guys I've ever worked with in the studio and in the partner studios as well.
When you see the final ship flyable in game, knowing that it's gone through months of development and there's been a lot of heartache and a lot of pain and sweat and tears that's been put into that, it's rewarding.
Even the smaller ships require an incredible amount of work to get them to be the level of quality or the fidelity they are. New starters are often shocked when they start here to see how much work it really takes to get one of them to completion.
We all know what the vision is. We've all got kind of that high level vision in our minds from an early stage in the pipeline. So yeah, it's really kind of, it's enjoyable to see it kind of come to fruition at the end of that pipeline. Yeah.
When it's delivered, you know, and you know, where people have pledged, and eventually the final ship gets there in their hangar, you know, what we hope to provide is it's that amazing sort of showroom, red bow on it kind of experience where they can go, yeah, look at that, I bought that, that's my ship, and even better, you know, I can get in it and I can fly it.
So that's our ship pipeline. It's obviously a lot more complicated than A to B to C, but it is an incredible process full of just incredibly talented people who are doing amazing things. I certainly went into this never expecting the level of fidelity and detail and passion that these people would put into the game. And it is a joy to see everything come back just beyond our wildest dreams. So thank you for watching. You keep flying, we'll keep building them.
Okay, what's my password again? Never. Community press 1, right? Never. All right, hello everyone. It was Ben's brilliant idea for me to play some 2.0 with all you guys out there. So I'm just fire up the launcher and let's see what happens. Does it? I think we've got a special treat. We're going to also have John Rhys Davis is going to Skype in. I'm not quite sure where he is in the world, but he was on the phone earlier, so I'll have a nice little Skype conversation with him. What is wrong with this computer nowadays? Okay, I'm going to reboot this. Sorry guys, experiencing technical difficulty, therefore we will reboot the computer. Is Dennis around here? Yeah. Okay, because the computer's like balked, so I'm going to reboot it. It's not working. It's got connection timed error out. So I'm just rebooting to see if it does anything.
It was all working this morning. We actually got in.
Of course it is. It's a live demo.
Are we live right now?
Yeah, you're live. Go on, you're waving the camera. You're right here.
Yeah, great. Okay. So, was it a network connection issue?
So it's the grey box. There's network connection timed out. So are you sure, like, no one's run over a line or something, or? I got to log in, so it was going over the internet. All right, here we go.
Play. You want me to do it?
Yeah, do it. The computer had frozen up in the Port Alisar, and then after that it just wouldn't connect. All right. Right. First you don't succeed, try again.
I didn't plan this, by the way. You get on camera.
Yeah, get on camera. Dennis showing our crack IT team is here to save the day.
Yeah, trying.
All right.
Was it saying the servers were full, or just?
No, it just said connection error lost. Okay, it's that grey box.
Okay,
I
I'm
don't
gonna
even
go
know why
hit
that's on that.
QA team real quick also.
Okay,
Let 'em know.
launch. It's gone. We didn't get this far before. It's fine.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe the machine got into a bad state.
Everybody knows you're getting in, so they're gonna try to flatten it.
That's right. I think that's the idea. I think the actual idea is to see how many people can get into grief Chris Roberts, and I'll see who I can crash with. Righty. Loading games. By the way, we're working on ways to make our load times quicker. So it's not in 2.0. It may not make it in 2.1, but we have a faster load method, a sort of binary XML instead of straight XML, and that will make waiting here less of. It's, you know. Okay, all right. There we go. All right, now we're waking up in Port Alisar. Oh, I've got the clean room this time. Last time I woke up in a room that had like a party going on inside it the night before. Very cool. All right, so we will put F12 on, so be in chat. I'm going to put my AR in so I can see what people look like, or who they are. Ah, it's Manny, Chris Roberts. Yes. Okay, I think this is the really awkward chat interface that we are definitely going to be fixing. All right. Okay, so. I hate this interface. Okay, I'll go outside. Very quick. I like it. I hate the chat. Okay, I don't use the chat, and this is the reason why I'm not using the chat. Thank you. Why else? who's that up? Looks like someone's calling up an Avenger. And Pip's power up. Okay. And hello. See who this is. We got Admiral Keen, Cyber 8, and Compass. All right, let me use this.
Please redirect to one of our landing pads.
There we go. All right, so what ship do we want? I don't know, we need a constellation, I think. What ship?
Unfortunately, our automated system
Try
is
later.
unable to
Everyone's got
access that
ships.
ship at this
I guess
time.
I'm just going to have to...
We apologize for any inconvenience. Please try again later, or select a different ship.
see if I can join in someone else's ship. Maybe someone's got a constellation we can get on board of. Here we go. Someone's going to the airlock. Closed on me. Right, who's this? Cobra Khan, F. Go out. Okay, let's see what we've got out here. Landing pad 7 or 8. No ship. No ship. Ship down 9 and 10. Oh, everyone's taking off for ships. Oh look, there's an Aurora. Probably can't fit in the back of that Aurora. I'm going to go try and get myself another ship. Yeah, let's go in here, back into the thing. Right, I promise everybody that the chat interface is going to die a horrible death. It's the most awkward, ugly, unusable interface I've ever seen. All right, see if I can get. Just got a 325. That ain't going to help me. Nope, still no. Alrighty. Ship out here? No? Okay. Alright, we'll go back inside, see if there's now opportunity to get some more ships. Terribly exciting, isn't it? Get a ship.
Unfortunately, our automated system is unable to access that ship at this time. We apologize for any inconvenience. Please try again later, or select a different ship.
Gladius. Okay, Gladius.
Selection
Landing pad
confirmed.
A2.
Your ship is currently being delivered to the launch platform.
A2.
Tampering with weapon safety protocols.
Oh, ship.
The station has been designated as a target.
And we are on our way. to our Gladius. Missing our landing gear for some reason. There we go. Yeah, I'll try to back the map.
Aegis combat assist.
I guess it's flying me when I'm...
Systems green.
Alright. I'll just use this, will be quicker right now. Get up. Okay, so this is actually... Oh no, you know what? We're gonna... This is why I say chat is incredibly awkward. There we go. Okay, right, just take off. Okay, it's on the joystick, although I don't know what my strafe keys are on the joystick. I don't know if it's set up on what the strafes are. That's pretty nice. Oops. I've not configured this one. Strafe. Ah. Okay.
Launch complete. Landing complete.
This isn't plugged in. I don't know why, or it's not working.
Launch complete. Landing complete.
Got strafe on the Exo Pro. Well, I just don't have the. I don't know what my strafes are on it, so I don't know how if they've configured it. It's not strafe. That's not strafe. It's not strafe. Okay. Okay, this is really annoying because. Okay, I don't know how this one got configured out. I can just fly, and the throttle isn't working either. Just plug this in. It's gonna be quicker because this isn't set up right. I can't. Nothing. It's not plugged in right. Just take the joystick out. It'll be quicker. I'll fly it with the gamepad because the throttle control is not working. This strafe isn't set up or anything.
Launch complete. Landing gear retracted. Contact. Right. Begin scan. Contact.
Is this in now? Yep. Okay. Good. It's working. Okay. Good. Yeah. It should get. All right, there we're gonna go. That was a bit of a drama.
Contact.
The joystick wasn't hooked up, so the throttle wasn't working properly. Let's see, where do we want to go? I'm thinking, should we go to Port Korea, which I think is on the other side here. I think it's actually on the other side. I'll try and put all this on. Let's go to one of the Comores, the Carvelec shipping hub. Let's go there, that's always fun. Okay.
Quantum travel initiated. Contact. Begin scan. Contact. Quantum travel complete.
This Kovalek shipping hub is currently closed to the public. We apologize for the inconvenience.
All right. I got a hard lock on the computer. All right, this is not. All right, guys. Very annoying.
Our holiday live stream. I'm Sandy Gardner.
I'm Ben Lesnick. What a day for a live stream.
Yeah, no,
this is our third annual holiday live stream. We like to end the year celebrating everything we've accomplished in Star Season, sharing some content with our backers, and just showing you some pretty cool stuff. And there's a lot to come in the next 3 hours. It's gonna be good.
There is a lot to come. We have lots of videos and some gameplay and all sorts of things, and there's noisy people in the background who should be quiet.
And maybe one mind-blowing surprise towards the end. But for now,
all right.
Welcome.
I know I'm a bit annoyed with
$100 million. That's just incredible, isn't it?
I know. I was reading some
I don't know if this is a machine or just it was. I don't know if the other people in that instance went down or not. But
it's very hard to explain to people what this is. Or
it is very hard to explain to people, and we have
that's crashing. I thought it would be kind of good to show you guys is what we sort of talked about, which is something that we've been working on pretty hard for the past year, and that is well. We'll roll the video, and then we can come back, and I'll show you a few more things. So check this out. We'll do. Right. That? I'm back. All right. Okay. So hopefully you guys like that. That's what the German, the Frankfurt office has been working on, which is you just saw the first iteration of the procedural terrain. There's a lot more to come there, but that's all fully inside the world, inside our large world, all transferring. And so what I thought we'd also do, because you could look at that and say, well, you know, is that a pre-rendered thing or not? So I have a play session that Sean, here's our Croatian technical director, did earlier. So we'll play that, and then we'll wander around in the editor, because the editor's a bit ugly, and you sort of have the other stuff. But
exactly.
We'll play the video of him landing on that level that you saw the pull-out from.
Awesome. And then
we'll just kind of zip around and sort of show kind of how it works, because it's pretty seamless where you move around. So, Tom, you want to run the video of the landing? hope he's running it. We'll see. It's running. Video. Landing. Okay, cool. Hey guys, all right, so that was Sean, recorded a little earlier, landing in the level, kind of. But you know, it's, you know, we're still at the you know, the early stages, but you can actually see that it's not that far off. So we thought it would be fun, would be here in the editor. We can kind of show you. So this is essentially Port Olisar.
Yeah,
it's the same space station that we put in the in this system map. And you know, off if we look around the side, you can see the Delmar planet that we flew down to, which is, I don't quite know how far away it is. It's quite a distance away.
It's 600,000 kilometers.
Right?
Yeah, it's really far. So actually, I'm just gonna do
you can jump, and then there's the space station that was in orbit around Delmar, and then we can probably just see it, like if you go fast on the editor speed, maybe perhaps.
Right.
You can sort of go down. So here's Delmar. We're now closer to it. So we're just.
1 second there. Okay. Don't need any Skypes while we're doing this.
True.
So yeah, this is the first sort of orbit station that's around. One of the things I like the best about this is the atmosphere by far.
I think the atmosphere it's super realistic. It's all the work that the German office had done on that to get it to look the way it does is amazing. And we're moving at just pretty much a snail's pace up here, so why don't we make our way down to the planet, actually. Jeez. And having worked in Sandbox before in, like, you know, really, really sort of small levels, this is an entire different beast. So
that's all. As you saw, we just did all that in the editor live. It's generating the procedural terrain on the fly with the full atmospherics baked in, and our custom landing site, which is pretty impressive. So you could just
early
you
days.
could probably just jump into the game and
yeah, for sure. And that's the best part about this is, again, because it's all streaming, it's all live. You know, I'll just hit Control G, and here I am in my ship back at the landing platform, and we sort of start to do another run. So I'll try to do a little bit of a better job on this one. There we go, taking off.
There we go. Just came out of the space station here. So you saw that's all in the same level, all streamed in. Now we're now in orbit in the planet. And then we've got a couple of nav markers for the approach to land at Levski. Down there you can sort of see the moon off on the side there, the atmospherics. And that all changes based on obviously where the sun is, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So we're gonna hit our super cruise mode here, just because the scale is so large, in fact, that if I just flew at even the regular cruise mode, it would take so long to get here. We'd be taking a little bit too long, and that's one of the big things that we're working on right now. Now that we've got the tech in, we've got to get the actual flight gameplay worked out and make it fun to do this. The technology's come online so quickly.
That's pretty cool. And you can see this is basically sort of in the Crusader level that we're moving around. So,
exactly.
You know,
and it's pretty addictive. Like, you know, you'll be flying around sort of testing these things. I set up these tiny approach markers just so I knew what direction to sort of come in on. But right, you can fly all over the planet. It's all very procedurally generated. So, and it all holds up very much up close, which is quite fun. So now is where it gets a little bit dicey with this landing. So I'm going to switch to SEM and hope that I can slow down.
Need that, like, just use the landing mode.
Yeah, and let's do it. All right. So I might have overshot it just a little bit here, but still you get to see more of the terrain, more of the sort of area that we're working with. Coming in from a totally different direction. You see, none of this is really pre-canned. We set up this demo, you know, within a couple days, really. Yeah. So it all worked out.
And actually, the terrain renders faster than maybe. I mean, the German team did a pretty amazing job, because the terrain renders super fast, even with.
Right. It's faster than the CryEngine terrain, that's for sure. Yeah. Like the sort of default out of the box terrain. So I mean, we'll be brave. We can give this a go. But as you saw from the video. I've got a little bit of work to do on my landing skills. This is obviously a very specific type of landing that we don't do so often. But that's just approach. I bet everybody's watching going, he's going to crash. He's going to crash. I'm not going to crash. I'm going to go really slow. There we go. We got the doors opening. All right. Just park myself right above this thing here. Uh-oh.
Oh, what's strafe on the keyboard? I don't ever use it.
It's A and decoupled.
Oh, you're in decoupled now? Right.
I will be in a second. And I'm just sitting in my little door trigger here. Let me move sideways. I'm sorry, it's not A, it's Q. Rather.
Yeah, that needs to.
All right.
We need to
Let's
actually normalize. We need to normalize that between
all right, here we
FPS
go.
controls.
Can you make it?
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, you can do it. Go on.
All right.
Come on.
I'm being real safe about it. And maybe I'll go back to first person here.
Okay, a little sideways perhaps.
go decoupled. Oh, I might have landed on a.
That's what I was saying. You should go sideways.
All right. Everybody's watching, going, "Oh, he's totally gonna mess this up."
All right, there you
I'm
go,
not gonna
there you
mess
go.
it up. I got it.
You
I
got
got
it.
it. We got it. We got it. Perfect. Perfect landing.
All right, let's get out of the seat.
All right.
Yeah. And go back.
And here we are.
And the really goofy use stuff that we're going to get rid of very soon.
Yeah, item port 2.0 stuff from Paul. It's going to be awesome.
Here we go.
I'll get to this. Just use the door directly, I guess.
And there we go.
And here we are.
So we landed. Oh, someone's floating up.
I might have left the ship on. So that's about that, and we can just jump in, jump out.
So anyway, that just shows you we're doing it live, so it's pretty exciting because Text made some really great strides this year. Like I said, the German team, Marco Cabeda and Carsten, the two sort of lead tech engineer geniuses that we have, and what you're seeing there is a lot of their work, and then there's been a bunch of support work from other folks. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Hopefully you guys like it. We're pretty excited because it's further ahead than we thought we would be at this sort of time, and so we'll be, next year some pretty great things are going to be happening. So hopefully you like that part. Much better than me playing a crashy 2.0 over there on that machine. So there you go. And I think we have a little surprise at the end where we're potentially going to talk to a special guest on Skype.
Excellent. Yeah, let me get out of your way here.
Okay, let's bring in Santa to cover the screen because this is so live that.
Okay. You want me to log in?
No, you need to.
So they can't see your password when you log in.
Yep.
Okay. Block the screen.
Oh my
And just
God.
be sure you're on the wide shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now everybody knows. All right, here we go.
I'll get out of the editor. That's it. Oh, Skype's improving our experience.
Hey.
Whoa, 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 whoa! You can see all this stuff.
How can you see all the stuff?
No, on his screen.
Oh yeah, well, it's updated.
All right, here we go.
So where's the single on? Where's it now?
So go to.
Where is it? What's that?
Here, go to search.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Oh, it's on the.
Right. Forget John. There you go.
Here, because we're doing super links looping through.
Okay. We got no luck today on some things.
Chris, you're like the bad luck bear today. Well, I can call him.
There we go.
How are you, mate?
Hey, John, how you doing?
Pretty darn good.
Awesome. Well, we
We'll
would.
sit outside. Let you have a look. Let you have a look at the.
Oh, you're in New Zealand?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be that nice in the Isle of Man at the moment.
No, it's not a bad little place. Not a bad little place.
Oh, brilliant! Look at that.
The shack is a different thing, but then we're still working on it. It really needs folding and starting again, but that's another story. Oh, wait a minute. Which way up am I?
No, you're good. You're up, right? So we had a we first talked about your character today on a live stream for our community. So I think people are pretty excited. I told them how much fun it was shooting with you and also recording all the wild lines where you were throwing out all the insults to the enemy, which was pretty awesome.
Yes, abuse comes naturally to an old man, I think. So we're doing this live, and to
Yes.
whom are we doing it?
We're doing it to the members of the community that are watching. I don't know what our live stream is right now. Probably.
It's about 13,000 and plus our whole office.
So everyone's quite excited to have you part of it. I mean, there's a lot of people that backed Squadron 42 and Star Citizen that were big Wing Commander fans that loved you being in Wing Commander 3 and Wing Commander 4, and of course most people know you from all your other stuff too. So, but yeah, no. So everyone's pretty excited. So it's going to be pretty cool. We showed them the early 3D sculpt of your character and his outfit and everything.
Great.
And it should be pretty cool, especially once we have like digital John Reese moving around in the world. It'll be quite a digital force of nature.
I hope that you don't show your viewers the rather embarrassing sight of Mark Hamill and myself dressed in tight spandex with funny bubbles all over.
We definitely did that. That's a great equalizer. Everybody's in tight. Doesn't matter who you are. You're in tight spandex with bubbles, but you look pretty good doing it.
I'll tell you what, dear and gentle members of the Squadron 42 fan club, it's a remarkable experience. It's quite different for an actor, to be wandering around in tight spandex with bubbles on it, and 48 infrared cameras capturing your every motion. But I can also tell you this. I've been around a few big projects in my time, and this is going to be a game changer as far as modern video games are concerned. This is cutting edge, state of the art stuff that's going to make everything else look a little bit yesterday.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And I only paid him £5 for that.
No, I only speak these days. I mean, you can speak generously around a subject sometimes when you're only half-hearted about it. I remember my father gave a reference to an employee of his out in Africa, and I think the reference said, "I cannot speak too highly of this man," which was both subtle and true. You could not speak very highly of him, and certainly not too highly of him. But this is real. This is the real McCoy. This is engaging, and it's exciting, and it takes your breath away at times, and it's inspiring, even doing it, even when you're running around in spandex with little bubbles on you, in a funny little green screen stage. The sense of the drama of the moment came there. The script is good, the action is good, Hamill is terrific, and we just had a ball. It really is going to be worth your while looking at this and playing this game, I think.
Awesome. Well, thank you, John. That's really nice of you to say. So I know there's a lot of fans out there that are big fans of your work, and so they're pretty excited to have you in it. I don't know if we've, do we want, see we have, he's not really Santa back here, he's our community manager.
Well, we may as well get all our staff in. Come on, guys. They're all standing quietly in the background.
There we go.
Hey!
So here's our...
See you later, Santa.
So anyway, we wanted to, this is I think the end of our live stream, right? And so it was nice for you to pop on. Everyone's so funny. We've got people prank calling now. On my Skype. Anyway, so no, it's really nice to chat. I mean, what time is it in New Zealand right now?
Early.
Actually, it's 11. It's coming up to 11 o'clock in the morning. The sun has just come out. We've just had a little bit of rain, But let me show you this view once again.
Yeah, and you're in the future, right?
Whether you can-
This is Thursday
I'm
for
in
you.
the future, yeah. You're 5 hours ahead and a day behind if you're in LA.
There you go. That's very nice. Pretty. You have to come out to New Zealand. Visit you there.
You should.
Well, totally. So are we saying?
You should.
Are we saying?
We are. This is the end.
This is
this
the
is
end.
It.
So do you want to say goodbye to the fans out there? I guess our whole office here in Los Angeles is going to say bye. We have offices in our, obviously Manchester and Austin, Texas, and in Frankfurt, Germany. So they're all. It's a bit later for the ones in Europe, but they've all been watching, and it's like really nice to talk about your character finally. And I can't wait to show them folks in the game because I think there's some really great stuff. And Half-Life 3 better stop calling. No, it's great. And so, you stop off here, so you need to stop off on your way through in Los Angeles, and you can come by and visit here, and we can show you in the game.
I would love to do that, and I just want to say, Merry Christmas to all those hard-working people in the office, and love, of course, to you and yours, and all our fans out there. Thank you for bearing with us. Thank you for buoying us up with your great swell of eagerness and support. I promise you this, Squadron 42 is going to blow your socks off.
Absolutely. You should go fishing. All right, see you. Much love, John.
Thank you. Bye.
That's off.
Yeah, you might want to sign it.
All right, that's the.
Let's turn that off.
Turn that off. This is actually my computer, so yeah. Log off.
Hi. Are we off or are we still broadcasting? Oh, we're still broadcasting?
Thank you all for watching. So I think hopefully you liked what you saw, other than, well, you probably thought it was quite funny me trying to play 2.0 and having all the issues on the machine and the various parts of the equipment not working. But hopefully you really liked what you saw with the ship pipeline, what we talked about with John's character, the various other things we've revealed, and of course something that we're pretty excited by, which is the procedural sort of planet tech, which we think is as good or better than anything out there, and it's only going to get better. So that's just the beginning. We're gonna do some procedural worlds at a fidelity level that will be along Crisis level. So there you are. If you want hype on top of hype of Star Wars on Friday, there you go. In the meantime, thank you very, very much for backing and supporting us these last 3 years. You guys have been amazing. You're enabling us to build a game that I think is the game of everyone's dreams. It's not just my dreams. It definitely is the game of my dreams, but I think pretty much everyone working on the game wants to play this game and live in this world, and I think pretty much all you guys out there feel the same way. So without your support, we couldn't do it. Hopefully, we're showing you, how much we care and how hard we're working to deliver stuff to you. 2.0 is, despite the problems I had, is a pretty big milestone, and we're working to fix a bunch of those issues. And we're just going to continue going on. So, 2016, I think, is going to be a really exciting year. And I look forward to seeing all you on the verse. And I think, Merry Christmas and goodbye from everyone here, right?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays.